Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day. My man.
How are you?
Good to see you, brother.
Good to be back. Thank you for having me. I miss you too.
I used to get to see you every week.
I thought about that the other day. Like, yeah. Like you
so
forget that's like a period of time, and it's not going to be forever sometimes, you know?
Yeah, well, it almost was. You were one of the first people to take the trip out here.
I was. It was clear as day when I first came out. I'm like, why wouldn't you be out here? Because I remember I had this writing job, right? And so I was just like on Zoom every day, and life kind of sucked because you couldn't go out. So I was just trapped in my house.
Right.
And then in between a lunch break, I'm on Instagram and I see Tony Hinchcliffe's post. This is like in the infancy of him coming out here, you know? He's like, sold out Antons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It seemed like this bizarro universe
Right.
where like life is still happening. And I love stand-up so much. And I was just kind of miserable. And I'm like, if this is happening out there, I can do stand-up. So then I started asking questions. I hit up the EPs. I'm like, yo, because we're on Zoom, could I just write from Austin, just Zoom by day, and then do stand-up out here with like all you guys at night? And they were like, we don't see why not. So it was awesome. I got an apartment out here. I would Zoom by day. I would just be doing awesome shows at Vulcan and stuff at night.
Yeah.
It felt like a life hack.
It was a life hack.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I did that.
Have you been to the mothership yet?
Of course, dude.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Thanks.
I got to do, I think you were on vacation. Then Adam had me do where you normally do in the middle of the week.
Oh, yeah.
The Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I got to do like 6 shows in that
Nice.
beautiful big room. Both rooms are great, you know. I like that small one for working on stuff. It's kind of like the Belly.
It's very much like the small room is like a combination of the belly and the OR. It's a little bit bigger than the belly room and a little more locked in
Yeah.
the belly room. And then the big room is like a combination of the OR and the main room.
That's what I tell everybody because they go, "What's it like?" And it's like if those rooms had babies. Like they're in the middle of all 3 of those rooms.
They're
you know?
both perfect.
Yeah.
They're the perfect size.
You know, it's kind of funny. I think the store has started to like get a facelift because of what you've done at Mothership. Because so many comics would come back and be like, "Yo, they just give you all your sets." You know what I mean? The sound's amazing, like because it's so state of the art.
Well, there's also the screens in the green room that show you what's going on stage and the time.
You can't miss your spot.
Yeah, you can't miss your spot,
Yeah.
and there's lights everywhere.
Yeah,
So to let you know, there's 2 sets of lights in the hallway, one in the beginning of the hallway, one at the top of the stairs. You always know when the guy's got the light.
Yeah, so I think.
And if you have any suggestions, by the way, just throw them out. We'll use them.
Okay.
Half of the
pretty
club
happy.
is built on suggestions.
Well, you can tell, you know.
Like this, I think it was Tony's idea to have the lights in the green room. It might have been Tony's idea also to have the monitors in the green room. It was Louis' idea to lower the ceiling. It was
Yeah.
Louis' idea to change the size of the stage in the little room and lower the ceiling in the little room too.
How big was the stage before Louis suggested the change?
It was like 4 feet more on each side.
Too big?
Yeah, it was too big. It was too big. He was right.
Yeah.
He's like, why do you have all this extra stage? You don't really, it's an intimate room. I'm like, yeah, you're right. But it was just, you know, we just kind of like walked into this empty space when it was just a movie theater. So when it was a movie theater, we had to change everything, right? So we changed the way the stairs are. So in a movie theater, the stairs slant way down at a steep angle, right? So you could all watch the big screen. We raised the floor up. So we had to build a concrete, like a rebar and concrete floor. So it's a totally different floor.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So we raised it up and then Louis wanted me to lower the ceiling even more, so I did that as well.
After the fact, when it was all said and done?
No, it wasn't all said and done. We were in the middle of everything. Luckily, we did have to recut the stage in the small room because but the concrete hadn't been poured yet. So they just had to recut the steel and put it on. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting. I've never been a part of building anything like that before.
Yeah. You could tell, though, because you're a stand-up of several years, you could tell it was designed by a comedian.
It's all done with comics.
Yeah.
Comics input. And also Richard, the architect, who was amazing. Shout out to Richard Weiss.
Yeah,
He's
shout
the
out,
man.
sure.
He's the man. He's so good. I'll have him on the podcast someday. He's a really interesting guy. And he also came up with the idea of making the tunnel.
Oh, the tunnel's awesome.
The tunnel's the shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's such a cool hangout. The whole thing's just it's all just set up just for a hang. You know, just so everybody feels good.
The most valuable asset to comedians, especially nowadays, is getting that footage, dude.
The footage is big.
It's,
we'll film you. And then also, it's like really high quality.
Yes, it's 8K.
Yeah.
The sound's great. So I've been pushing for that at the store, and I think they're starting to. It's just a process, but
You also have to put people's phones in bags so they pay attention. People are so goddamn distracted, me included. It's so hard to just sit there. It's one of the things that I love about podcasts is that for 3 hours, I'm not going to see what's going on in the world. I'm locked in. I don't have to think about other things. And I'm really lucky. I think it's a form of therapy in a weird way in this bizarre, digitally sort of intertwined world. You can't escape it. I can never escape it. It's so hard to get away from emails and text messages, and it's just I cannot keep up. I have 185 unanswered text messages.
Are you good about clearing them, or do you have all that read?
Who has time to clear
I
things?
have to clear them. I have this OCD thing where I need to have a clean. I can't have red.
Okay, it's 183. 183 unanswered texts.
All right.
How? How do I do that?
Well, you're a popular guy, dude.
No. How do you keep up? You can't.
Oh,
You
it's
literally
hard.
can't keep
It's hard
up.
for you. I can keep up. I'm always surprised, like, for how busy you are and like what a figure you are. Like how quickly you respond. Still.
But I love you.
Well, thank
You're my
you.
friend.
Thank you. But I have friends and people who are much lower than you in the pantheon of things who take so much longer.
Well, sometimes I do take long though. If I'm out doing something,
Yeah.
There's times where I'll come home and there's 60 text messages, and there's not a chance in hell that I can just bang all those out.
Right.
Otherwise I'll go insane. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, it's not that I have too many people contacting me. That's not what it is. It's you find a fucking excuse to use that thing.
Oh, the phone?
The phones. You
Yeah.
find excuse. It's cool to be in contact with people. It's fun. I like that. I love the text messages I have between friends, sending each other memes, talking shit. It's fun. It's
Yeah,
silly.
yeah.
It's silly fun. It's a nice relief. When Ari sends me a funny thing, or says something funny, it's a nice little relief.
The text thread you're in, they're great. You live for the text thread.
Yes.
Yeah.
I got a few of those text threads going on between me and comics, and it's the most fun thing, man. But it's just the fucking phone runs your goddamn life, dude. It does. And it's like it's made it so, especially if you're a person who, like, if you're booking shows, you have to, you be in contact with your agent. You have to be in contact with the opening acts. You gotta,
It's a tool for everything. It's like I
Every
gotta docu-sign
fucking
something. I have to
thing.
edit a video. I have to post it on TikTok. I have to post it on Facebook. I have to post it on. It's
Yeah.
literally a computer. It's
if
like
you have
work
to-
never ends.
You know what the most hilarious thing to me is? When you have to sign things online.
Like it's such bullshit. It's an exercise in everyone
It's
believing.
a fake signature. It's not even my real signature. It's a fake signature, like a DocuSign.
Yeah.
And you just agree that you're going to accept that as your signature. You say, okay,
Right.
and you click it, and then it's your signature.
It's just Joe Rogan in text.
There is
I guess that's a signature.
There's one way around that. It's if you have like a Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra, their new phone, it has a stylus that's built into the phone, and you could use it to sign PDFs.
Does somebody care enough to be buying that phone just to sign documents?
No, but you can sign all kinds of stuff. Like you can write on it, like a notepad. It's really fascinating. It's a very fascinating piece of tech.
We're going back to Palm Pilot. We've gone full circle.
A little bit, but it also allows you to take photographs. So you could use it as a shutter. So you could like stand across the room and take a photo of yourself or a video, and you press that button, and it starts recording, and
You could be like an old-timey
Yeah,
photographer.
old-timey.
Just put a blanket over you. Go,
Do they still do that? Do they
That'd
have
be
like
great.
enthusiasts who
I
do
bet there's
old-timey?
some
It
kid in
must be.
Silver Lake who's like, yo, pose everybody at some cool bar and he has the flash.
Yo, I used to get fascinated by this one dude who would make old-timey wooden farm tools. This guy would make like old-timey, what are those things? Planes. He would make old-timey planes and old-timey
Like Wright Brothers planes?
No, planes, like where you're planing wood.
Okay.
He was like a wood shop guy, but it was all handmade. He made all of his tools.
Who's the market for that?
Me. I watched that show. I couldn't stop watching it.
But like when he makes the tools, is there a market to buy those, or is it
Oh,
novelty?
I'm sure. I think it's novelty. I bet when at the time, this was pre-internet, or maybe like the internet was just starting. But this guy had a cool show, and I used to watch it all the time. I love when people love things. That's what I figured out about me. It doesn't even have to be something that I love, but I love when people love things. And that's when I really got into Bourdain's show, because I was like, God damn, this dude loves food. He loves cooking. He loves cuisine. Is that me or you that just dinged?
I think it's you. I'm an airplane, man. I respect the format.
I usually do, bro.
This
Come
guy
on,
I
you
used
think I'd
to
be so bold to
follow
not turn
on
it off?
Instagram makes the photos that way with a truck. He turned a whole truck into a camera essentially,
Oh, that's
and
cool.
the process of it is crazy. So like it can be a miss sometimes
I mean,
because of how much work he's doing to set it up.
Imagine trying to convince these women it's a camera and not some creepy.
Oh yeah, I'd be
No,
like,
no,
you
it's a camera.
are a psycho.
Just come into the woods and pose for me.
So he turned his truck into a camera. He
Yeah.
built his own camera.
And the whole thing is like the dark room, everything, and then he does
Mm.
the chemical process. It makes really cool photos on metal. He's printing them right to metal.
Whoa.
That is kind of the.
Most of the photos we have is like a transfer to metal. These are directly to metal.
Is that how they first started making photos? Did they put them on metal?
I don't think it was metal. Well, plates. Yeah, I think it would be plates.
Nice returning it to
Oh,
nature.
that one didn't work?
Yeah,
So he's
so
just
he gets-
throwing it?
Yep.
Hey, dude, don't litter.
Yeah,
Brian cleaned it
he's
up.
down on
Come on.
himself.
I know you're mad that your fucking homemade camera doesn't work, but you better pick that up, bitch.
That's the beauty of YouTube.
You know, imagine
is-
that. The guy just littered.
Yeah. You think that's not
Don't
natural?
fucking, you can't litter in those places, bro. There's too many people visit. Think about how many people visit like national parks. It's like so important to not litter.
To throw
No
a
one's going
metal
in there
thing.
cleaning up after you fucking animals. Don't do it. Don't litter, and you're in the woods, man. My friend Adam Greentree, he goes on these big backpacking hunts where he'll go into the like Montana mountains, Colorado mountains for like a month at a time, and he's just picking up bags of people's shit that they left behind, bags of empty water bottles, bags of trash. And he just brings a bag with him and he collects it while he's out there hunting. He says it's disgusting.
Nice of him to do. I'm sure there's tons of stuff out there.
So disturbing though that people do that. It's the worst aspect of us. This just total willingness through completely being selfish of just destroying one of the most amazing things we have in this country, which is national parks and public lands and place where you could just walk out into the woods.
Yeah.
There's tons of places in this country where you can just go on a hike in the fucking woods with bears and moose and all kinds of shit. You can just go out there, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully you know what you're doing, but nobody really tests you.
Right.
Nobody
It's
says,
allowed.
"Hey, Fahim, how long can you hike before you die?"
Let's find out.
Hey, Fahim, do you doing any cardio at all?
No.
Hey, Fahim, do you know how to use a compass? Hey, Fahim, do you guys have fucking something to start fire with?
Well, that's when you make the local news, and then there's just like
Yeah.
a file photo of me, and like the search has been on for 6 days.
Bro, it's so hard to stay alive. It's so hard.
Yeah.
I've never like stayed alive. You know, I'm obviously just talking out of my ass, but I have been camping. And one of the things that you realize when you go camping, if you just go camping just a few nights in a row, you realize like what fucking bitches people are. These animals, they sleep on the ground every night. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They're out there wild. There's no doors. There's no borders. And they have all these defense mechanisms they developed to protect them from predators because of that, because there's no hiding. Every day is war. If you're a fucking deer, every day is like listening for branches snapping.
Yeah, that's just life.
Every day.
Remember, I was snorkeling in Hawaii, and you get to see all that marine life down there, and I just saw this sea turtle, so peaceful. And then part of me was like, he doesn't have to worry about rent or anything. You know, he doesn't have to make
True.
money to exist,
Right,
which was like an
true.
interesting concept. But he has so many other problems too.
He's got problems.
He's got problems,
Yeah.
but there's just something about like that being enough for this turtle just kind of floating. Whereas like I got to get a job, I got to go on tour, I got to make money, I have to have an apartment, I have to, you know what I mean? All these things humans need to do to exist.
The turtle's a residual effect of evolution that's no longer necessary, but we think they're beautiful.
I think they're beautiful, man.
We think they're cool.
Cool guys.
When
they
you
live
see
a long
turtle,
time.
you're like, hey, bro, this design is not going to survive.
Man, I can watch a turtle eat lettuce forever. Doesn't Stallone still have his turtle from Rocky?
Whoa, is it that old?
It's old, man. They live
my
a long
God.
time.
I had turtles. I had to get rid of them when I had babies because turtles are dirty little creatures. You don't want to have that stuff around. But they were ruthless. I would
Slowly
feed
ruthless?
them. No, I would feed them goldfish. Dude, I had piranhas at one point in time,
Of course you did. That's like the most Joe Rogan pet.
and they were not nearly as ruthless as these fucking turtles.
yeah.
Look at that. Rocky's still got the same turtle.
44 years old. At least
Wow.
this was 5 years ago. So they'd be
Turtle looks
49
great. He
now.
looks 10.
I'm sure they're not dead yet. They think that. I bet they do because tortoises live like 1,000 years, don't they?
Something.
I
a
think
long
sea
time.
turtles live a long fucking time too, which is like the saddest thing when you see people kill them and eat them. And you're like, oh,
But how
You're
good
killing
must they
something
be,
that's
though?
like
How tasty if they're doing that?
You think so? I think
Gotta
they're
be-
just
Sometimes I
starving.
think about like shark fin soup, and you're like, how good must it be?
Aquatic turtles will commonly live 20 to 30 years in captivity, but many can live much longer. Tortoises are some estimated to live 100 to 150 years. So it's not tortoises. Is it sea turtles that live forever? Who are the old ones? So some of them can live up to 250 years. What about
Jeez.
sea turtles? Maybe it's sea turtles.
Do you think there's
I think
like
they're really old.
a family that has a turtle that's been in the family for generations? Like it's 249 years old.
Wow, that's a
Like
good
this
question.
is my great great grandfather's
That's
turtle.
a solid question.
That'd be awesome.
I think there's sharks that are alive today that are the oldest living creatures. I think there's sharks.
They estimated up to sorry,
Go ahead. 1,000 years, right?
1 in 1,000.
Okay.
So that's surviving. I was reading it wrong. Sorry, it's too many words.
Lifespan 100 years, but there's one turtle. There's some fucking turtle that they think it's really old.
This says estimate up to 500 years old.
Oh, okay.
Here's one right here. I don't know.
I mean, they
That's
just look
it.
old. No, you never see a turtle and you're like this.
Large
guy is so young.
turtles. That's what I'm talking about. 500 years old. That's fucking bonkers, man. That's like pre-George Washington. Wrap your head around that. You're a baby turtle. You're just fucking chilling. All of a sudden, these boats pull up. And you're like,
Yeah.
this isn't going to be anything.
Do you think some of these turtles are not that progressive because they're pretty old and they
They're
haven't
probably
been
super
a-
conservative.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, they probably watch Fox News.
They're like,
all
women
day
are wearing
long.
pants. What is this?
I see
this
ankles.
wasn't happening
Ew,
when
Lord.
I came up.
Yeah. You ever see there's a snapping turtle? What do they call them? The really crazy looking ones? It's like a dinosaur looking thing. It's a type of snapping turtle, but there's like a gator snapping turtle. I think maybe that's what they call it, alligator snapping turtle. It's crazy looking, dude. You can't even believe it's a real creature. And these assholes are picking him up. And you're like, bro, if you fuck up, that thing's taking your hand. Literally taking your hand. They're big.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Jesus.
Look at that fucking mouth. But there's some big ones. Look at that one look at the size of that
Jeez.
one. That's what I'm talking about. Like that guy has. That guy's out of his fucking mind.
Yeah.
If that maw gets a hold of one of those fingers, that shit is so gone. You're trusting your grip. Look at that thing,
Right.
man. You're trusting your grip.
Look at its nose. It's like a
Bro.
fucking pig snout.
Fuck all that. That is a monster. If that was big and storming into a village in Mongolia 1,000 years ago in some crazy movie, you'd be like, oh my God, some Lord of the Rings type movie?
Yeah.
That would exactly
I'd move.
be what it would look like. And there'd be guys with straps around that thing riding it.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right?
That's like those scenes in the movies
look at
where
that thing!
yeah, where the heroes are against the wall, but then the people riding these things come in from the side. You go, yeah.
Bro, we're so weak.
Well, just humans. In general.
Humans,
Yeah.
we're so weak. It's what an amazing trade-off, though.
But we have bombs.
Yeah, we have guns. We have everything. We have houses.
Yeah.
We have cars. We
We
have
made
so
up
many
for it.
different things. We way made up for it. But isn't it interesting that as you make up for it, you have to give away your physical defenses? We're the most vulnerable. A good house cat could fuck you up. A house
If
cat
you're not
could
ready.
fuck you up, dude. A rat for sure. A rat the size of a house cat could fuck you up. You'd be so scared of that thing.
I saw this video, you see videos on Twitter and stuff. This guy in New York, there's a possum just on the side of this building. And then this white guy helps the neighborhood out. He just grabs it off the wall and it's like and
Oh,
everyone's just thanking
Jesus.
this guy and he just knows how to handle the possum and he
Oh,
walks it down the
God.
street and he just like throws it into an alley.
Yeah, my dog Marshall likes possums. That's a person who grew up on a farm. That lady just grabbed.
I just
that
love
thing.
how this is a
Look at that
subgenre
lady.
on the internet, just
That
grabbing
lady just
possums.
grabbed that thing like she knew exactly what the fuck she was doing. Look at her walk out confidently. Look at her; she's all confident and shit, holding onto that wild rat.
Like, does she have experience? I wouldn't.
She must. She must, unless it's hers.
That's true.
Maybe it's like a YouTube gag.
She's like, my bad, guys. She
She's
got out.
releasing possums. Like, oh, you got a little crazy. Roscoe, you cut that out. You
Roscoe.
cut that out, Roscoe.
We're in an Applebee's. Come on.
Roscoe, they have a disease, a very specific disease, right? Don't possums have like something nasty? I think they have something. I was worried because my dog's got them a couple of times.
Yeah.
They just lock up. They don't even fight.
They get
back.
scared. Yeah.
No, they lock up. They play possum. They
Oh,
dead.
so that's
they're
where the
like
fucking
they're
term
dead.
comes
That's where it
from.
comes from. Yeah. it's a weird response.
So me and the possums have the same.
They don't know if
technique.
it's a response to escape coyotes, because coyotes sometimes will kill you and not eat you immediately. And maybe there's some sort of an evolutionary advantage to playing dead, and they leave you there, but you're not actually dead, and so they give up on trying to eat you yet.
So you got a
Toxoplasmosis.
toxo, and then something called leptos.
Yeah. All kinds of bad shit.
Yeah. Oh,
Coccidiosis. How do you say that first one? Coccidiosis. Come on, dude. You went to college.
I mean,
Help
I didn't
me out.
study this. I didn't study possums. I did
How do you say
engineering.
that?
Coccidiosis.
Coccidiosis. A microscopic parasite found in a possum feces spreads a disease known as coccidiosis. When opossums are immune to the disease, they are carriers and spread it to other animals.
Diarrhea.
Yeah. Bloody diarrhea, dehydration, weight loss, general decline in health. If untreated, can result in complications or death. Oh, shit.
This one sounds tough.
Death by
Yeah.
parasites. You know what they give you when you have parasites?
What?
Ivermectin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what it's originally for.
Dogs are susceptible to this one.
Dogs are susceptible to leptospirosis.
Yep.
Leptospirosis, bacterial infection through contact with opossum urine or contaminated water. Both pets and humans can. So it doesn't. I wonder if that means if they bite them. If they bite them, they definitely can get toxo. If they eat them,
So the moral of the story is just stay away from possums if you can, right?
toxo.
I would imagine.
Toxo is the wildest.
Yeah.
Do you know that they think that somewhere in some places, like at France, at one point in time, 50% of the population was positive for toxo?
No. Why? From what?
Cats.
Ah.
From feral cats. Feral cats leave cat shit around, and that's why they tell pregnant women never touch cat litter. It's really bad for the kid if the woman's pregnant and she gets toxo.
Oh, fuck.
But it's a parasite that infects your brain, and the wildest thing about it is what it does to rats, because it rewires the rat's sexual reward system. This parasite does, and gets the rat horny for cat piss. So the cat is like pissing somewhere. The rat finds where the cat's pissing, and he's literally erect.
Is
And
he
he
just
has
fucking the liquid or what?
No fear of cats. Zero fear of cats. Their fear of cats completely goes away to the point where they pursue cats. So the cats eat the rats because toxo can only grow and can only reproduce inside the cat's digestive tract. So inside the cat's gut, it's reproducing. The cat shits it out. And then the cycle repeats itself. The rats eat it. The rats eat the cat shit. Rats always eat shit. They get toxo. They give it to other cats.
Vicious cycle.
And it gets to people. And it makes people reckless. It's a disproportionate amount of high instances of toxo are connected to successful soccer teams.
How do you know so much about toxo? Like,
I'm fascinated by it. There's this guy, Robert Sapolsky, out of Stanford. Is he out of Stanford?
Yeah, I believe so.
Brilliant guy, but he did all this work on toxoplasmosis. And one of the things they found when he was a resident, or maybe it was one of his friends that was a resident, they found that there was a disproportionate amount of motorcycle victims who tested positive for toxo. So they started testing motorcycle victims for toxo, and they found that there's a disproportionate amount, enough to indicate that there's probably something going on there, that maybe the toxo makes people more reckless.
that's so weird how that can make you do that.
It's nuts, dude. You know, think of how many people have feral cats, how many people probably have it. You can have it and not even have any idea, have no inclination that you have it.
I'm going to get tested for toxo now.
You're just a little cuckoo.
I'm like, dude, I had it the whole time.
You're just a little cuckoo.
It's a 40%
Yeah.
population in America.
40%.
That's so much.
40% has toxo.
Up to could be.
16 to 40%. Let's just say it's only 16. Do you know how nuts that is? It's a parasite that affects your behavior. That's so bananas.
I know.
How nuts is that?
It's pretty.
And most people aren't even aware of that?
Get tested, guys. This is like a PSA. Get tested for toxo.
Yeah, it's what are the side effects or what are the effects? I know there's like a loss of inhibition, I think, that comes with it. Something along those lines.
Maybe that's
like
good
more
before you hit the
recklessness.
stage. Toxo just makes you fearless as a comedian.
Well, that, a
This
good
next
head
guy has
injury.
toxo.
Good head injury is good for that too.
Yeah, a good injury.
A good head injury
Yeah,
when
that'd
you're
be
younger.
helpful.
Like, you wouldn't recommend it, but two of the all-time greats had like big head injuries, and they turned into
Kinnison?
Kinnison and,
And then who's
Roseanne.
the other one? Roseanne had, I didn't know she had a head
She got
injury.
hit by a car. Yeah.
Adam
Yeah.
Devine got hit by a car too when he was
Oh,
like,
Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. I think he broke his bones and
Oh my
stuff when he was a
God.
kid.
That's so scary.
Yeah.
I've been watching more car accidents because of Instagram than at any other time in my life. Instagram just wants to show you people dying.
Well, X too, man.
X too. Well, X is everything.
Yeah.
X has porn on it, which is so wild that during the time where they were trying to take their accounts away for COVID information that they didn't think was correct at the time, they were allowing like hardcore porn.
I know. You forget it's the Wild Wild West on there.
And I'm not saying they shouldn't.
Sure.
I'd love
But
that it's the Wild Wild
It's
West.
such whiplash. Like, I'll be watching a cat video, and
Yeah.
then it's just some guy, getting hit by a car. And I'm like, Jesus, like,
Yeah.
give me a minute. Let me brace myself. And
Instagram knows that I watch those.
It's just serving you
motherfuckers.
up. It knows your
It's
algo.
just
It's
serving
like-
me up. There's a lot of these. I'm not even following these accounts.
you like this guy dying. You may like this guy.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, should your feed be only people you follow, or should they show you a bunch of shit?
Well, that's what these companies are struggling with, because when it was all just your circle, people weren't consuming as much as the suggested videos. You know what's funny is, like, I got shadow banned on Instagram for like around Thanksgiving.
What did you do?
Hardly anything. And it sucks because I'm trying to do a special via non-traditional means, like it's not Netflix, it's not Comedy Central. Like, this is a model now because of like you and YouTube. Like, this is a viable alternative to like the Netflix Comedy Central special, whatever. So it's like you need the power of these social media companies to reach people. So like doing podcasts and you do the YouTube special, that's like an arm of it. And then you disseminate. Ari Shafir has like been very helpful with like trying to self-release a special. So you like chop it up into clips. Like, this is what I did at my last one, And you just chop up, because most people are gonna access you via clips. Like, everyone has time for 30 seconds.
Right.
Because the hour-long special is kind of for jazz heads. You got to be a real stand-up comedy nerd to like sit down and watch an hour.
Jazz
It's
head.
for real.
Right.
I was
Like a
talking
guy
to,
who's got vinyl.
I swear it is, because like I was talking to Roy Wood Jr. and like sometimes because we're in stand-up, we just think it's the world because it is our world, and we think that it translates to the rest. And he like bird's eye viewed it for me. He's like, yo, when you go on Spotify, stand-up is under jazz. You know what I mean? He goes, as an art form,
Right.
it's under jazz. Jazz is more popular. And I'm like, it kind of put everything into focus for me where, I don't have to be as invested. I'm like, okay, there's a ceiling to what you can do. But
Right,
anyway,
right.
I need the clips. Like, I need the arm of the clips because I had some clips do like 12 mil and stuff, and people were able to find me via Instagram Reels. So when they shadow ban me, like, it tells you can look at your account status, and there'll be marks on there. It'll say there's like 3 strikes and stuff, and then one of the things it said is your content will not be shown to non-followers, and that's kind of how the machine works. Like, your stuff gets suggested to people who may not have known about you, so you need that as an artist if you want to grow, like
Right.
to see your special and your
Right.
stand-up. So you're being suppressed, you're being limited.
How do you know you were shadow banned?
Because it tells you on your account status, and then I had people talking to people who work at IG or Meta or whatever, and they're like, yeah, it's shadow banned.
What did you do?
I think it's because it's an election cycle or something. Like, it's not even a human doing it. I think it just scrapes for buzzwords and just blanket has these suppression on it. So I had this
God,
joke.
That sounds so creepy.
Well, it sucks because there's no nuance to it. It was just a joke. You know, my Fahim Works on Stuff show? I do it on YouTube sometime
Sure.
where I'm just working on material.
Right.
I just do it to feed the algo. And sometimes there's a great joke that works, and I just post it on a reel because it's like 80% of the way there, and I'm just feeding the algo. So this joke, I post it on all of them. I do a clip, and then I post it on all the social media platforms. So it remained on TikTok and all the other ones. It was fine. And usually TikTok is very draconian. Like, they don't like, because it's like
right.
mostly kids. So the joke, I just go, it's a non sequitur, just out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, I just want to let you guys know Hamas is hiding at my ex-girlfriend's house. so that's the joke. It's like saying something without saying something.
Yeah.
It's just,
just a joke.
it's a joke. And like,
Oh my God, we can't have jokes about
yeah,
where
yeah. So
Hamas
that's
is
all,
hiding?
that's all I said.
Oh my God.
And then I think it just saw Hamas on the thumbnail, when you post on the grid. And
So if
then
you-
I got a strike for that. And then there was no way to reach people, and I'm just fucked.
Wait a minute. So any mention of Hamas gets you shot about? Is that what you're
Yes,
saying?
yeah, pretty much. I think it just it's this machine learning or whatever it is. It's just scraping the internet for like buzzwords. So that was like a hot button issue and stuff. And there's no nuance applied to the situation or the joke. So it just sees Hamas, and then my account got hit like that.
So is it any joke about Hamas or just mentioning Hamas?
I don't think the joke was even taken into consideration. I think they just saw Hamas on a thumbnail or Hamas on a caption, not knowing that it's a guy on stage doing a joke.
Right.
And there's layers
Did you
to this.
appeal it?
Yes, I tried to appeal it, and then it was just stuck in review forever. So nothing was going to happen. Like I was pretty much fucked. So I know influencers in LA and stuff, and I was like, and sometimes when they're pretty high up on IG, they have a contact or something more than a nebulous, because you can't. These companies are so there's no point person. I think it's like that for a reason. So they tried to help me out. They had a guy, and we were going back and forth, and nothing was getting done. And luckily, I'm at a large agency, like a talent agency, and they were going at it too, trying to help. And like just a week ago, it got lifted. Because,
week ago.
yes. And then, so the joke is up, whereas before it wasn't. So it's like it didn't even happen. It's like I had someone vouch for me, and then they, like, hands were off. It was fine. But only because I had the might of this talent agency. If I was like a regular guy, I would just be fucked.
Well, that is the thing about an agency can get in contact with someone who, there's a value in that for sure.
Yeah, so
Especially
much.
in this weird time. But you also have to realize from their perspective, they're managing at scale literally billions of people.
Yes, so
I mean, Facebook and Instagram are all the same company, right? It's all Meta. So, like, how many Meta customers are there? Let's just guess.
so many. Well, isn't it like a small nation when you
Well,
add up how many Facebook
I don't think it's very
users?
small nation. I
It's-
think it's a really big one. I think it's a really big one. I want to say it's north of 2 billion.
Yeah.
That's a big ass country.
But it's an imperfect
Daily
solution.
active users on Meta products
Yeah.
is 3.19 billion.
Yeah.
That's half.
That's so many people.
It's a lot
So,
of people.
You have to think from their perspective
She says
that they
3.6.
think they have an obligation somehow to maintain a certain level of discourse on their platform. This is how you could establish it initially. But then when you get people in there that are very politically biased, and you get people in there that are socially biased, and they only want one perspective being heard, and then you get a lot of people self-censoring because they self-censor because they're like, hey, I don't know what I can say and what I can't say.
Well,
I don't
now
wanna get banned.
I'm like that.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Twitter does not do that. X does not do
Right.
that. I don't like calling it X. I can still call it Twitter.
I know.
I'm old school, bro.
I'm old school.
It's because it's not an X. You can't make an X. You make a tweet.
True,
Right?
true,
I
yeah.
tweeted it. You X'd it? That's
No, I say
crazy.
X'd it. I ride hard for Elon. I'm like, I was on X, and then I was just drafting a bunch of X's, and then
It's just fucking.
I X'd it.
what?
What do you call it? Tweet? Oh, that's
Yeah,
Jack Dorsey. This
yeah.
is Elon.
The old days, kids. It just.
So it's nice to have my account back. But
I love that it's wild. That's the Twitter thing is. It's. I mean, some of it is disturbing when people get comfortable enough to just like really speak their mind about things. You're like, oh my god.
Well, that's the thing about social media too. Is sometimes when you're a close knit circle, your buddies kind of check you, like, "Hey, what are you doing?" But social media, some people have a lot of rope, and you're like, "Oh no."
Yeah, and there's especially like isolated people.
Yes, I
They're
see my friends get
isolated.
nutty on the road. Like I'll get nutty. Like you could tell your buddy has been on the road for too long. Like they do a video in a hotel room or something,
Oh,
and you're like,
no.
"Oh no, they're losing their mind."
Yeah.
I've been guilty of that too. Just when you're not surrounded by community and people,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just a brain floating on the road.
The number one key that I found very early is go on the road with your friends.
I'm lucky. I've entered a phase in my career where now I'm starting to be able to do that, whereas before you're not making enough money. So you're just beholden to whoever they book as a feature, and you're just stuck in a hotel.
Mm-hmm.
You're walking across a freeway to go to a Cracker Barrel and kill time.
I decided a long time ago, like 98, to do that. Just pay more money.
Yeah.
Give them the money. Just make less money, but have a good time.
It's worth it.
Dude, it's everything. It's everything.
yeah.
Make less money, have a good time. Make more money, have a bad time, not fun. You don't like that. That's not a good feeling. make less money, have a good time, and have everybody else have a good time too.
Yeah.
So it's a bunch of guys who are really good friends, who love each other, been on the road forever, going to dinners forever. I've had hundreds of dinners with Ari and Joey Diaz and Duncan, and so when we get together, it's just joy.
It's the best.
It's just joy. It's just being with your favorite people, having a good time, and doing the thing that you can't believe you get paid to do.
Yeah, I'm able to do that now. I think, I mean, I have to say thank you for.
No, you're able to do it from your talent.
I know, but I mean, this is a platform because, like, I wasn't a Netflix guy, I wasn't a Comedy Central guy, and
Which doesn't make any sense to me.
Well,
that just shows
it's
me
fine.
that Comedy Central and Netflix don't.
well, look at how many of my friends and peers are just skyrocketing, and they weren't the guys they picked. You know what I mean? So it's kind of validating and refreshing, and it's cool to see comedy policing itself and just promoting guys who are in the trenches and know what's up, not some guy who has a communications degree. And
Well, I
is
think
just,
there's
you
a
know
lot
what I
of
mean?
comedy nerds now too that are really into comedy. They're really because they get to see how the sausage is made from all the podcasts.
Yeah.
It's still like really before that. I always said this: like, there's so few conversations with great stand-ups that exist, like from the George Carlin days or Richard Pryor days. There's not hours and hours of Pryor just sitting around talking about things, which would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Can you imagine if Richard Pryor or George Carlin had a podcast?
It's pretty nuts, I know.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that'd
God, it'd be insane. It'd be insane. And George has done some conversations where he talked about his writing process. He talked about, the art form itself, but he had a very specific way of doing it that most people don't do it that way. He would write a monologue.
Yeah, I
and
saw
then he would
that.
just sort of punch it up a little bit. That monologue would be his monologue for the
It was
year.
amazing, but it was rigid, and he knew his beats and stuff. But yeah,
Totally
brilliant.
different process. Totally different process. Because in the end, he became this guy who was a comic as much as he was a social critic. It was like both things were this. It was still a great comic, clearly, but he was also a great social critic. And he had, because he didn't have a podcast, his view of the world came out in his stand-up, and he had to figure out a way to make that funny. And that was like his great challenge.
Well, it gets so distilled when
Yeah.
that's here because, like, we can talk at length and approximate it, and we have
And you can go back on what you said and go, actually, now that I'm thinking about it,
right.
I could see how you would look at it the other way too, which is so goddamn important.
Comedy fans are getting very granular. It's kind of cool. I think comedy's always been popular, but not like this. And I almost feel like it's people are discovering stand-up this day and age sort of like the way they used to discover music. People are taking ownership of discovering comedians because even me, I'm kind of like under the radar. I'm pretty niche. And when a comedy fan likes me, there's just like a level of fandom. It's like they found a cool record at a record shop. Because of the advent of YouTube and Instagram, people aren't just accepting whatever is being fed to them through corporate pipe.
Right, which used to be the case. Like if you weren't picked before, you couldn't do anything.
That was the only way to even get in front of people. Is
Yeah.
like you had to be the corporate pick. Otherwise, you were just toiling in obscurity. There was
Yeah.
no way to even be seen. But now there's all these ways to circumvent the traditional. Like Schultz was saying something. It was like younger generations and stuff, they don't know where they saw it or like what the medium is or the branding. They just know they saw it on a TV, whether it's YouTube, whether it's Netflix, whether it's Amazon. Like that type of branding is almost like legacy thinking from when I was coming up and you were coming up, and there was a way to do it.
Yeah.
People just like good now.
Well, they like what they like too, and there's plenty of variety. There's all sorts of different comics out there now that are really popular. It's a really interesting time. I think like for stand-up, like for the art form, I don't think there's ever been a better time. There's never been more of it. There's never been more good ones. There's never been more good ones coming up. And that's one of the more interesting things about watching the club, is occasionally I'll get to see these people that audition to be door people. Those are all comics.
Yeah.
And I get to see them grow. It's fun. It's fun to watch, man. It's fun to watch people inspired, and that energy is in the whole room, because there's all these different levels. There's guys like Hassan and Derek who are now going on the road
Yeah,
and
great guys.
killing
I
it on the
love
road.
them. Yeah.
David Lucas is killing it on the road. William Montgomery's killing it on the road. And then there's like the headliners that come in that are there all the time, like Shane and Duncan
Yeah.
and Tom Segura and all these people that come in to fuck around. But there's this feeling that starts at the bottom. It starts with the base. It starts with the people that are inspired about making it still. And then there's the people that are just getting in, and then there's the people that are in, and then there's the people that are on television, and everybody knows who they are, and they scream when they go on stage.
Right.
Then there's Ron White.
Yeah.
You know, there's those people. So it's like you get to see how we're all just the same thing. We're all just artists, for lack of a
We're like
pretentious word.
Pokemon, just different
We're
evolution.
just doing a weird art form.
Yeah.
We're doing a weird art form that hasn't really, until now, been documented as to how to go about doing the process and how each one of us went about doing the process. And I think people are interested in that. Just like I'm interested in that motherfucker that makes wood, wood tools. I love when people love things.
Yeah.
I do. Even if it's something that I don't do. I love when people love things. Anything, man. Anything.
Well, it's so interesting how the blueprint as to make it, whatever you want to call it, in comedy has shifted so fast in the past couple of years.
Yeah.
Because when I was coming up, it was SNL, it was doing like a late night set, it was doing premium blend, like these smaller showcase type sets.
Yes.
And then you do a half hour. Like a half hour on Comedy Central was huge. Like
Right.
Dane had a monster half hour. Just Gaffigan, Louis, you know, these were like people's entry points to these people. And then now there's really, those things don't exist. I was taking
Well, it's the viral clip now.
yes, so I was on the road and I was doing Cobb's and I brought Matt Lockwood, he's a comedian from the store, and we were just sitting eating ice cream on the bench, and I'm talking to the young comics, and I'm like, what do you guys pine for now? Like, what is the thing? Because when I was coming up, I knew what the thing was, like what we all wanted.
Right.
It was like a JFL
Yeah.
showcase. It was a late
Just
night
for
set.
laughs, for people
Just
who
for
don't know.
laughs, yeah,
Montreal.
yeah. The biggest set of your life is in French Canada.
It is.
And then you make an Arby's joke, and you're like, "Oh, you don't have Arby's? That would have been good. That would have been good to know in front of all these suits." What else is in the news? So I go, "What's your thing? What are you?" And he's like, "There's really nothing." That was weird to me that they had no touchstone. He goes, "Maybe like a clip goes viral or a podcast." It's just so nebulous now.
Right.
There's no hard blueprint.
Well, the blueprint before was kind of the problem was it involved other stuff. The blueprint involved like getting a sitcom, getting a talk show, getting a something.
Yes.
It always involved that.
A means to an end, a springboard. Like you couldn't just be
Yeah.
a comic.
No.
You got to be a wacky neighbor.
But that was the thing that always bummed me out the most about Richard Jeni. You know, Richard Jeni, when he died, was one of the best comics ever, but felt like a failure because he didn't become Jim Carrey. Because he didn't become the guy who did the movies. He had a TV show. It was called Platypus Man that was on like one of those burgeoning networks, one of those new networks. Like, what was it? WB, one of those.
It was the Tubi of its day.
It was one of those weird networks where like they started offering people deals to do shows that maybe wouldn't have got a show at NBC or ABC. But he was a great comic, man. A great fucking comic. And he never liked the fact that he was just a comic.
But what's crazy is if you plug him in today,
He'd be a killer.
Yeah,
Arenas.
it's enough.
Yeah.
Like you're enough as a comic.
Yeah.
You're enough. Whereas that used to never be the case. It was like, what else do you do?
Oh, it's such a disrespected art form. It's it's something that everybody loves, but nobody takes that seriously
know.
because it seems like the person on stage is doing what you can do. They're just talking.
I know. But they get up there and they learn very quickly.
Yeah, oh, if they get up there. Yeah.
Well,
they're
you ever have
gonna
a drunk person who's like,
Yeah.
I'll do it sometimes. I'm like, all right, let's try. Let's see what you got. And they go, and then everyone hates them. They go, you wanted this, dude.
Yeah. Well, it's just people think, and then there's people that want to do it and just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
I'll get that after shows. Some like young comics, like,
Yeah.
what do I do? I've been writing stuff. I'm like, you just got to get
Yeah.
up. You just got to walk into the fire.
Yeah, you
And-
just got to do that first open mic night. After the first one, it'll be a lot easier. The first one's the hardest one for sure.
I always
the
tell
first
them.
one, I was fucking terrified.
Yeah, but the fact, if you even do 3 minutes, and even if it's terrible, that is 99% further than most people ever do. So many people talk, but they
Yeah.
never even, like, bomb for 3 minutes. That is a win, even, for real. Because you know what it feels like, at least.
If you have gotten laughs and then you bomb, I think that's better because at least you know you can get laughs. But if you start off bombing, the
Yeah.
road to actually getting laughs, like if you bomb out of the gate, first time on stage, just death,
Right.
not even a chuckle,
Well, if you come
then
back,
another one.
if you
Boom.
come back after that happens,
Yeah, you're
then
an animal.
yeah,
Or
then,
you're a crazy person.
Sure,
You
but
could be a crazy
those are both great assets as a stand-up comedian.
Occasionally.
I guess.
The crazy person isn't always, the crazy person isn't always, that's not really.
Right, you have to harness the crazy.
Yeah, some people it's not harnessable. It's a 1,000 horsepower engine on a fucking kid's
Like,
bike.
what do I do with this?
They have like a little kid's bike with a fucking giant
What a ride,
Corvette
though.
engine on it.
Oh, I also gotta thank you because it reminds me. I brought my parents to Tonight Show, and that's because of your podcast. I remember I was doing, I forget which one. I've been on a few times, but like, you're like, have your parents seen you before? And I'm like, nah. I go, they saw me do the Apollo when I was 18, and then I got booed at the Apollo, and that was the first. I was like a few months into doing stand up. And they're from Afghanistan, and this is not a thing you do. And
Right.
they wanted me to quit, and it was just very disgraceful me doing this. And they see me get booed by 4,000 people. I'm telling the story on I think one or two. Yeah. So I get booed off stage and all that, and then you're like, they got to come see you again, man. You're great. And I go, I just have this mental block,
Right.
because that was so bad,
Right.
that it's like an emotional thing you just put in a closet and you just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to keep on doing comedy on my own and keeping my parents and stuff like separate. And then you're like, they got to come see you. And then on the podcast, I was like, I just always had this fantasy of like when they see me, it being so good to counteract how bad that experience was, that it would be like a celebration that everything is okay. Your son turned out okay.
Right.
All the worries you had, you don't have to worry anymore. So I think after I spoke it into existence on your pod, I actually went about doing it. So I hit up the booker of The Tonight Show, and I'm like, I guess I could have always done it. I just never, I know the booker. I go, can I do The Tonight Show? Like, I'd love to do it. I told him the whole story of like, my parents have never seen me since that thing. This is like an emotional thing I need to take care of. Like, this isn't even about comedy anymore. This is just like healing. It's been this monkey on my back for 20 years, 21 years, And then he's like, send me a tape. I sent him a tape. So I actually did the work. I finally just went about doing the work. I went to the Improv. I put a tape together. I sent it to him. He's like, this is great. Come and do it. So then I flew my parents out to New York, and it was just very therapeutic to be able to give this to my parents because they know what The Tonight Show is. It was a celebration. It was like, this is way bigger than, like, I love The Tonight Show. Thank you for letting me do it and all that stuff. But in the grand scheme of like entertainment and needle moving, it's not what it used to be. You used to do Tonight Show and people like honking and shouting your name from cars and shit.
That's how I found out about Richard Jeni.
Oh, is Tonight Show appearance?
Yeah, I saw him on The Tonight Show.
But this was just to give my parents a night out and a memory and a story for their parents. So I wore a suit. I brought them out. They got to meet Jimmy. They got to meet the Roots. The Roots came in, and because I'm like friends with the Roots somehow. So like,
that's amazing.
Yeah, they're like, oh, your son is amazing. Blah blah blah. You raised a good kid and all that. So it was everything I could ever dream of it being, and that stems from your pod,
Well, it stems from you, dude. You
I know.
Put it together.
But still, it's just when you talk about things and you speak something into existence, I think that's valuable, Just
Sure, but
this
you also have
format.
to work at it. Think about it. You got to put that set together. You got to work at it.
Yeah.
Got to be real careful with that speak things into existence talk. Because you're a very dedicated and disciplined writer.
Right.
You write all the time. You're always working on new material. You're always working on your material. You put a lot of time and effort into stand-up comedy.
People say that, that's nice, thank you, but I just develop systems where it doesn't feel, because when people are like, oh, you write a lot, it doesn't feel like I write a lot because I just have systems and processes where over time I look at my notes and I just have a bunch of stuff. It's not,
Right.
I think people have such an aversion to writing. They think that you have to go to a log cabin, you know what I mean? And there's a typewriter and then you like do a pipe and you're like,
Yeah.
what's funny?
Exactly.
Whereas I've gotten my process to a point where I just live life, and if something happens, I jot it in my phone. And you jot enough things in your phone, that list is pretty long.
Yeah.
And then I developed that Fahim Works on Stuff and his friends drop by show. I developed in during COVID on accident. Like the Jam in the Van was the only venue doing shows, and I had already headlined there. They go, "You want to do another one?" I'm like, how about this for an idea? I just have all these bits that I never get around to trying. I MC the show. I have a piece of paper up there. I'm just kind of like reading. I'm just like spaghetti against the wall. And this goes back to people, comedy fans being savvy now, where they know the process. And I have enough fans at this point now where like they want to see how the sausage gets made, you know?
Yes.
So I do like 10 minutes in between acts, just trying stuff out. And then I bring up people doing great sets, you know what I mean? So the bulk of the integrity of the show isn't based on me trying new stuff because I have great comics interspersed.
Right.
So it's a very low stakes way for me to try a bunch of new material. So after the great act goes, I do 10 more minutes of bullshit or whatever, bring up the next comic. So it's a safe space for me to be able to try new stuff.
And they know what you're doing too.
Yeah, the show is called Fahim Works on Stuff, and his friends drop by. So I think
it's a good name of a show.
Yeah, and it mitigates expectations. I think a lot of times comics, when they're like, oh man, I'm so afraid I can't write stuff, it's like, make the show where you can. Because I'm Bobby sometimes. First of all, it was very cool to see Bobby on the pod. I'm surprised it took...
I know, it took forever.
It took forever. I told Bobby, I'm like, I'm so glad that you finally did it. Like,
he wouldn't do it forever. Forever.
Bobby's weird like that sometimes. Yeah.
Nick, not yet. Not yet.
But when,
I don't even... We talked about doing it like 100 times. Whenever I'd see him at the store.
I know.
And he's just non-committal.
What made him want to do it this time? What put him over the top?
I don't know.
I should ask him.
He just, it's going to be in
when
town.
the time's right.
We hooked it up. It was fun. It was fun hanging out with him.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
I love Bob. He was the first comic to take me on the road. Like a headliner to actually take me on the road with him.
He's a genuinely sweet guy. Like, genuinely sweet guy. Always has been.
Yeah. He's always
awesome.
good with other comics
he's fucking
too.
hilarious.
So funny.
He's hilarious to hang out with too.
He's a feral cat, dude.
He's so
I had him on my
funny.
pod one time, and like I had an idea of where I wanted the pod to go, and I'm just kind of like mentally trying to corral Bobby, and there's no way you can't.
That's silly. You need a like a red cape.
Yeah,
Toro.
I need a possum guy just to grab Bobby off the wall.
I spent. This is how stupid I am. I spent 20 minutes today watching dudes do flips over bowls.
Yeah.
Because there's dudes, this is a new sport, where the bulls run at them and they flip over the bulls. They do like front flips, so they're acrobats.
The red cloth isn't enough?
Not enough. You're now
This is the next evolution?
You're counting on your knees and your ankles. These guys, that guy got hit.
Whoa.
Look at this motherfucker. The leaping of the bulls. Look at this shit.
Do
I
they
watched
ever-
this for 20 minutes today.
I can't do that without the bull.
Bro, you have to be so athletic. You're avoiding horns. That goes up your asshole. You're a dead person.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time, man.
Do you think one of these guys is undefeated?
Nope. I guarantee you Father Time catches them just like it catches great fighters. I bet there's a few of those guys that hang in there a little too long.
The bullfighter?
Yeah, front flip gets a little sloppy. Maybe you got that one bad ankle, but I'll compensate with my right ankle. Not this time.
It's not even a flip, it's a somersault.
This time you're going headbutting a fucking bull. It's just but it's such a weird Listen, I prefer it to the other thing, the other bullfighting thing they do, where they
kill
stick
it.
them full of spears and they compromise it.
Flipping is just good fun.
Well, it's just the whole bullfighting thing. I get it back in the day.
You ever try to flip?
No, I've never tried to flip.
I used to be able to flip.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I believe you.
Yeah, I learned for the High School Musical. That's like the least manly story. Like, you ever flip? Yeah.
How long did it take you to learn?
During the summertime, you just have so much free time that I had my best friend across the street. I'm like, yo, come over. I'm going to try to do a backflip. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. So he just had eyes on me, and I would try to just do it on the side yard of my parents' house.
Jesus Christ.
So I would run. Grass is pretty soft. I'm not doing it on
Sort of.
concrete.
You
Yeah,
land
it's
your
soft
head.
enough. But you're 18. You have rubber bones.
Right.
So I would just run, do a round off to backflip. But I was doing it sideways. I think when you first start, you want to see the ground the whole time
Right.
because you're too afraid to totally let go.
Yeah.
So he's like, stop going diagonal, go more. And then finally I got it. So I wasn't doing a standing backflip. I was doing a round off to backflip. And then I learned how to go off a wall.
Whoa.
And then that's actually easier because you just like push off the wall. It takes a lot of the rotation out. And then I learned how to have my buddy launch me. I actually posted on my Instagram because when I was shadow banned, I was just posting dancing You know what I mean? Because I was in jail. I was in jail, so I just
So how banned were you? Did I still
Well,
see your
here's-
stuff? Or
well,
is it
I'm
just new
unbanned. I'm-
users?
I'm-
But at the time when you were shadow banned, would that mean I would have a hard time seeing your stuff? Is it people that follow
new
you?
new people wouldn't be able to see me, but
Okay,
I would
but
be able to
everybody
reach
who
some of.
follows you could see you.
Yes,
Everybody?
Maybe not the entire pie, but if my ceiling was going to be people who already follow me, I wasn't going to reach any new people.
That's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. So then I didn't want to, because I had all these jokes and stuff, and I go, I don't want to burn these clips on a suppressed audience.
Right.
You know? So I just went to my archives and just reposted dance shit. But what's funny is like, sometimes when you post dance stuff, it brings people who like dance that you wouldn't think. Like sometimes you'll like a dance thing, and it throws
you
me
have cool dance
it throws
stuff.
me for a loop because I wouldn't think Joe Rogan likes a dancing video from me.
I like all kinds of things, man.
Yeah. And then Juliet Lewis started liking some of this stuff. This is like a
that's
fucking crazy
hilarious.
world. And then she asked a question in one of the IGs, and I'm like, she's like, oh yeah, did you used to do this for talent shows and stuff? And I'm like, oh, I did it for the High School Musical. So can you pull it up on?
I'm trying to find it. I haven't found it yet.
It's
I found other dance videos.
I have too many dance videos.
Let's explore this.
Yeah.
Why is musicals not manly?
Probably the singing and dancing.
Right. Why
If
is
I had to
singing and
guess.
dancing not manly? Particularly evolutionarily speaking. Because women have always been impressed by singing and dancing.
Yeah, but you
Think
need
about Saturday Night Fever,
Yes.
right?
But think about all the jealous guys, and they just call Travolta gay or whatever. Because if the girls like something that kind of blends feminine, haters is going to say he's gay.
Blends feminine.
Yeah.
So why is
Singing and dancing?
Right, but why? Again, if women like it and if it's difficult to do, what makes those two things that are difficult to do that women like?
Because it's not a
Because men like
masculine.
it watching it too, though.
If it was rock, like if it's leather, guys can get behind that.
Right, but if a guy can really dance, that shit's impressive.
Yeah, but it has to be next level. It has to be like Michael Jackson
Well-
or Prince
Interesting.
Like Lance?
or like Lance.
Like Lance
yeah.
can't stop us. When's Lance coming back?
You know,
When's Lance coming back?
Lance. Yeah, I don't know.
Fahim does a character on stage called Lance Can't Stop Us, and it was always a favorite at the comedy store. Is he doing Lance tonight? Is he doing Lance tonight? I think he irritated you.
Well, nah. I mean, it's fun.
Like, stop
No,
asking for Lance. I'm right here. Fahim's right here, motherfucker.
Like Lance is
Like, they're-
Lance is cannibalizing Fahim.
It's like that movie. What was it? The Dark Half. What was that book? The Stephen King book, where the writer, like, he's got like an evil writer in his brain that writes all the hits,
Yeah.
and he comes to life.
Well, Lance is a part of me. The thing is, I almost feel like Lance is who I would be if I didn't have parents. I swear to God. Because my parents raised me a certain way.
Right, to
And
be
even
a-
when I have thoughts and stuff, there are so many gates before I kind of say,
Right.
what I say.
Right.
I'm careful sometimes. And then
Right.
Lance is just pure id.
Yeah.
And it's dancing and it's candy.
Right.
And it's so fun. Also, as an artist too, just as a stand-up, because when I write jokes and shit, I'm like, it's intricate, Okay, what goes here, blah blah.
Right.
It's mentally taxing.
Right.
But Lance, there's no jokes. It's just you show up, they play dance music, and I'm going on to the Comedy Store where they've seen so much high level,
Yeah.
cerebral, great jokes and stuff, and then they're like, Lance can't stop all this. Oh yeah, hear Bert bringing Lance up. Is there?
Bert, could I shoot everybody one more time? Come on, Bert.
Like pure nonsense.
No,
It-
amazing.
I know.
Amazing.
But it really
Do
sets.
you have the wig with you?
I packed Lance.
Lance is going on stage tonight.
Oh shit!
Lance is going on stage tonight.
I just love the phrase "I packed Lance."
Lance is going on stage tonight. It's like I get mad if Duncan doesn't bring Little Hobo.
Oh,
I go,
yeah?
where's Little Hobo?
So one time when Adam was still at the store, he was the manager there. I went up earlier in the night in the OR as me, and then my set's done, and Whitney's running late. And then Adam tracks me in the hallway. He like grabs me by the shoulders and he goes, "Whitney's running late. Get Lance." So I'm like Superman. So I go into the trunk of my car, and then I turn into Lance. And so this is like 3 or 4 comics later. And they go, who's next? They go, Lance. And the comics like, what the fuck? They go, all right, Lance can stop us. Then I go back up for the same audience, but I'm as Lance this time, and I dance and shit. And then I sit on the stool and I'm like, you guys look strangely familiar. So then I'm like, I do a 10-minute Lance set, and then I see Whitney in the back, and then I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, Whitney Cummings. And so I got them out of a pinch.
That's amazing.
But I've never done. I guess one other time I did do Lance on the same show, like as Fahim.
Bro, Lance will become Dice.
Yeah,
Do you
I can
know-
see that because it's so much fun to do.
Do you know the Dice story?
So no, what was that?
Dice's name is Andrew Silverstein.
Right, I know he was like a great impressionist and a
He
great
used to go
actor.
on stage
still
and he used
is.
to do all these characters. He used to do John Travolta. He does an amazing John Travolta, right? And then he would do this character called the Dice Man. And then the Dice Man became him.
It's him doing Travolta.
Was it?
Keep making fun of my car. Let me tell you something. This car is automatic. It's systematic. It's hydromatic. Rides grease lightning. Wow,
Just singing Elvis in front of like Madison Square Garden. I mean, how do you not love
and
him?
it's so good.
It's amazing. He's amazing. Dice is amazing. But anyway, that became him. He became that character. That's him.
This is it, man.
You're Lance.
This is my evolution.
You are
I was
Lance.
I was a caterpillar.
You are
and now
Lance.
I am.
This is my suggestion for your next special. After this one that you just did.
Yeah.
Half hour of you. Short break.
Yeah.
Half hour of Lance.
So it's like Speaker Box and Love Below, like the Outcast album, like half this, half that. That's pretty
Just
great.
You leave the stage. The stage goes black for like 3 minutes. You
Yo.
fucking swap out clothes, put the wig on, hit yourself a little Dior.
Well, yeah.
What do they wear? What,
For the
what
front
are
row?
people that like to
What
wear
does Lance
cologne?
wear?
What does dudes who like to party and go to
Aqua
clubs?
Velva for sure.
A guy who goes to clubs. The guy's like, "What's up, girls?" Like, what's that guy wearing?
Oh, yeah. What's
Gold
the
chains. What's that guy wearing?
jean jacket? Obviously, wife beater underneath.
Right. What is the smell though?
Probably.
Drop.
I typed in cheesy guy cologne and this bottle
Just-
popped up. All
Some
over
people
Oh.
are really into cologne, man.
Did you ever get into
Jean-Paul Gaultier.
cologne?
When I was a
male.
kid, I had Dracar Noir.
Oh, that was a big one?
Dracar was the
I
big
heard
one.
about it.
All the guys, hey, you got to get Dracar. Girls love it.
Do
Smells
they?
good. I have no idea.
Do you think
don't know
some
what the
girls like,
no guy
Dracar?
knows what the fuck he's doing.
Cool Water was big in the 90s.
Cool water?
Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
Oh,
was
Tommy was big for me growing up,
smoking
and then
weed.
Polo Sport was a hot fragrance.
I used to do the Old Spice aftershave
Mm.
where you fucking splash it on your hands, you sting your face. Whoo! Remember
Well, it's
that?
functional though too, because if I don't do that and I shave with a razor, you'll get ingrown.
Listen
So
to you, it's functional. You just
it's
go back
functional,
to being an engineer.
dude. Just do that. Yo, it burned, but it feel good. You just fucking splash that on your face.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You're like Kevin McAllister.
Dude, I think Lance.
It's fun. Like I'm bringing it back. I've been doing it more at the store.
Would you do that though? That my idea for a
I
special?
would.
I'll produce it.
Oh yeah.
How about that?
Also, because this is my third traditional special, like I've done it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of you get bored, and there's enough digital IP out there of me doing straight stand up.
Well, you can do both though. That's the beauty of what you've got going on. So you could just do an entire Lance tour if you wanted to, or an entire Fahim tour if
Yeah.
you want. You do whatever you want.
I also had this idea too because, like, Lance just loves everything. He thinks he can do everything. He can be an actor. He wants to be in action movies. He wants to sing and do music. So like, I might want to do like where it's like a documentary of like Lance putting out an album and an EP, and so. So he like tours America doing like shitty venues, but he has like 3 songs on an album, and then the in between of doing songs, he's just like doing crowd work, like thank you for supporting live music and everything, and like how I came up with this song. I was taking a shit at Chipotle, and like just the chords came to me, hit it, you know. So it's like half music, half
Right.
comedy.
Right.
That could be a fun, different type of special to do.
Yeah, I love when someone busts out a character. You know.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's a few things you don't see that much in stand-up anymore. You don't see like a character.
because it's scary. You'll get shit on a lot when you're a young comic. If you do something kind of non-traditional, you can get shit on. So like, luckily, Lance happened after I was really established at the Comedy Store. Like I already had.
Lance is good. It doesn't
Oh,
matter.
I know.
But even if you weren't established, if you came in and just did Lance,
Sure,
people would think,
sure.
oh my God, it's hilarious.
But Lance was able to thrive because I already had the for real.
Lance is another person, dude.
He is.
What
he
is
is
that Stephen King book?
He is.
Is it Dark Half?
Lance was able to thrive because I was already beloved at the store. Like I had earned their respect
Right.
and stuff.
Right.
And so, because if you start killing with a character and no one knows who you are,
Right.
you're gonna get shit on by the like elders and stuff. Like, so it might take.
Not at the store.
If it's a harder sell than if you have no history as a traditional comic. Yeah. Like 'cause it seems like hacky or a trick. So the fact that I can do straight.
But it's not if it's good. The Dark Half, yeah. Thad Beaumont, a parasitic twin removed from inside his skull when he was 12. What? Since then, he's become a critically acclaimed literary writer and a blockbuster crime writer under the pseudonym George Stark, who goes on a murderous rampage when Thad kills him off. Yeah, that's the book. It's a crazy book.
I mean, it's fun doing different character
That's you,
and
bro.
music stuff.
Lance is inside of
I
you.
did a promo. Can you pull it up? Because I uploaded it.
You need to feed Lance.
I will feed Lance for
Or Lance
sure.
is gonna go on a murderous
This is going to
rampage.
be sort of the way that Tonight Show thing was spoken into
Yeah, this is-
existence.
we're gonna
This is
speak
the
Lance
new.
into
This is the new
existence.
thing. Can you pull up? I did a promo, like a music video for my special. It just reminded me of the music.
I think comics are open to anybody trying anything as long as it's really good. But the problem, we don't put that same scrutiny on someone trying stand up for the first time. You know, like when you see someone do it at open mic night, you expect them to suck. It's just so fucking hard.
Yeah.
But if you see someone doing an open mic night and sucking as a character, you're like, you ain't never gonna make it, bitch. Right?
Can you turn it up?
What is this? I have a special promo for new comedy special. House money.
Instead of doing a trailer for my special, I'm like, let me just do a music video. So this kid McCone, he directed it. He does a lot of Bad Friend stuff too. So we banged this out in a day.
You know what's disturbing? That guy could be a very popular music artist. That could be your third career. Your third
I
career
mean,
is
the
your
British
like, super
accent
emo,
is so thick. and-
satirical British emo songs. I'm not kidding,
I was listening to Tears for Fears, and I'm like, this has to be my promo.
bro. If you go like way over the top, Tears for Fears, like over to the next level of dismay.
So British.
Yeah, over the top, like so over the
Obnoxiously.
top. You could be. That's your next career.
Bro,
That's your third career.
This is I'm just stacking careers today.
Yeah, you're gonna stack careers. You're gonna be a mock emo singer from the UK, from somewhere where it never is sunny.
so on
Scotland or some shit.
On a lineup, who goes where? Obviously, I can't follow Lance, so Lance closes up. So it'd be
Lance
me.
has to close. This guy
This
opens.
guy- oh, he
This guy
opens.
opens. He opens with his corny songs.
Right.
Right. You have these songs. Everybody goes nuts.
Right.
Short break. You come back as Fahim.
And then everyone's
Talk some
dicks are
shit.
hard for
Short break.
You kind of hear it like
Yeah. Lance.
like on the bleachers,
Dude,
and then
I'm
a
not
spotlight.
bullshitting. The first one's probably a bad idea. The singing's probably a bad
Right,
idea.
right.
But the other two are really good
Those
ideas.
are real.
But the singing could make it. If you really like,
I don't want it to make
if you
it.
wanted
It
to
was just a
prove
fun
point,
promo
but
to
if you
do.
wanted to prove a point, if you had like this thing in the back of your head and you're like, you know what?
I don't
fucking think
Like get
I-
my Eddie Murphy on.
Yeah.
My party all the time.
My girl wants
That's a
to-
jam,
That
though.
is a fucking jam. Let's put that on the green room playlist.
My girl want the party all the time. That was produced by Rick James, right?
Joey Diaz, you're on the podcast.
Yo,
I love you, brother. Where you been? You don't call, you don't write.
I called you yesterday. Hey, I'm here with Fahim.
I love you, Joey. How are you?
You got to talk loud. He can't hear you. Doesn't have
Joey, I love you, man. How are you?
I love you, brother. I can hear you. Listen. I'm coming. Is that all right?
Oh, don't tell everybody. They'll know. Now the whole world's going to know. Yes. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.
He's such a sweet
Damn it.
guy, man. Like,
I could mute it. I could.
We'll figure.
oh, mute it.
I don't want people knowing when he's coming.
Okay, all right, mute it. That didn't
One of the
happen.
fun things about the club is no one knows who's going to be on stage.
I see it because I follow the Instagram account. Obviously,
It's fun,
So,
depending upon like who's in town, and especially when we do Protect Our Parks. And then it's Ari and Normand.
it's fun seeing that pop because the audience is losing their fucking minds.
Yeah, it's fun.
The crowd's like, oh my god.
It's just it's a fun place, man. And you were a part of the beginning of this. You really were, because you were like one of the first comics that took a chance, moved out here.
Thanks, man. I mean, it's very cool to see the scene grow and continue to grow. And part of you thinks like, how big can it get? And
It can get pretty fucking
big. It can get
big.
pretty big, man.
It can get pretty big because there's a lot of new people that are doing it, and they're really dedicated.
Well, and if you're a young comic, this seems way more viable than a place like New York or LA that's super saturated. And even if you're funny, it's hard to get on stage. Whereas there's more stage time out here.
There's a ton of stage time, and it's just like it's a different environment. And I always say that this is my girl wants to party all the time. Rick James, remember? Give me some volume.
Yeah, come on. Oh, I love this shit.
Oh, we get kicked off
Yeah.
YouTube.
Really?
We're back on
oh,
YouTube now.
yeah. Well, congrats on
Thank
being back and the deal.
Yeah, but we can't play music anymore.
Imagine.
Gotcha.
So whack. Do you think that we should do my girl wants to party all
Don't do
the
it too
time?
good.
It's the Rogan
Um,
remix.
Yeah, if I do it too good, it'll pick up on the algorithm. Is there a way we can just say, put the full things on Spotify and just cut out the music chunks and tell people we're doing it?
Just trying to figure it out on the fly.
We might have to tell people we're doing it. I don't like being hindered by this nonsense.
We want to hear party all the time.
But it's like, what is fair use? You know, how does that work?
I don't know the rulings on stuff.
They should be able to talk about one of the greatest fucking things of
Songs by a comedian.
How many entertainers have ever done as many things as Eddie Murphy has? That's nuts.
Well, that's what's crazy. He did one or how many specials? Two or three
Two.
in his
Two
all
big
time
ones and
great
an album. He's got an
all-time
album,
great.
too.
Beverly Hills Cop comes out, I think, this
Oh,
week or
that's so
something, or
cool.
soon or something.
Dude, if he wanted to do stand up right now, if he just wanted to jump back on stage right now, he would start murdering.
Of course.
Right away, murdering.
Even watching his comedians in cars, just being
Yeah, it's
talking
a
to
great
Jerry.
tragedy.
Yeah, there's so many great bits in conversation with him.
Great tragedy that guy doesn't do stand up. But he doesn't want to, so whatever.
Did you watch SNL?
I watched Shane's monologue.
yeah.
Yeah, and I watched the Trump sneakers bit.
It's great, man. He's such a good sketch performer.
He's
like,
amazing.
Yeah, it's rare that someone is really good at stand-up and is great at sketch like that too.
He said he had a good time. He said they were, for the most part, they were cool to him.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said it was a good experience. He's glad he did it.
I'm glad he did too. It's one of the few times that it's been appointment viewing for SNL. You know, for especially for comics and stuff.
bet the ratings-
Everyone.
I bet
we're probably through
ratings
the
are
roof.
Bananas. Yeah, I bet the ratings are bananas.
My favorite from there when he was on is that Limu Emu sketch, but it got cut for time. And I'm watching on the internet. I go, they didn't air this. This is the best sketch.
Well, you know.
They have, they run their show. There's a certain order, and maybe it got cut for time or something. But when I'm watching, I'm like, this is the best.
Imagine putting together a new show every week and it not sucking.
Right.
What are the odds?
That's,
What are the odds? That's so hard to do.
I know.
Put together a new show every week. That's so hard to do.
Did that show mean anything to you growing up?
Yes. Yeah, definitely. The John Belushi days. Man, I used to watch that. If you watch some of those episodes now, you could never do any of what they were doing. They had some of the wildest shows. Those shows were great. The old Saturday Night Lives were fucking great. They were really fun.
Well, that was the only place to see something like that too.
Only place. It was nuts. You know, and then In Living Color came
Oh
around.
man, I loved In Living Color.
In Living Color
I loved
was
SNL
insane.
too.
In Living Color was insane. People forgot how good that was. I remember I was at a pool hall the first time I saw it. It was like, I think it was one of those Super Bowl days where like they had In Living Color on like during halftime. I think that was the deal because everybody was watching In Living Color. It was like and I was watching Jim Carrey as Fire Marshal Bill with his face all
Oh my
burned off.
God,
I'm like,
yeah,
this is
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
What is
Let me
this?
tell you something.
There was nothing like that had ever been on television before. And it was on Fox, right? Because
Yeah.
Fox took like more chances back
Right.
then. They had The Simpsons. They had like a little wilder stuff. Married with Children, right? A
Oh,
little
yeah.
more racy. Yeah. I saw that. I was like, are you out of your fucking mind?
It's crazy.
You're mocking a bird victim
I know.
on TV?
He auditioned for SNL.
The show was
Didn't-
nuts,
he
man.
didn't
How about
get it.
Handyman?
Oh my god!
He had a handicapped
yeah,
superhero.
with Damon Wayans.
Damon Wayans as Handyman was hilarious. He did a movie called Handyman.
I forgot they did a movie.
Bro.
Are you saying they couldn't do Handyman today,
Yeah,
Joe?
when these guys.
Are you saying
this
they
is the
couldn't
live
do
Super
Men on
Bowl
Film?
show. Yeah,
is
the
Men
Men
on-
on Film
yeah.
was hilariously.
I got to work with David Allen Greer when I did like a small guest star on Gerard's show when it was on NBC, that Carmichael show, and I was just so starstruck because like I grew
Right.
up watching. But he's this thespian guy, man. Even before
Right.
In Living Color, he was just this tremendous actor. But he has this crazy comedy gear as well.
Right.
But that was so cool.
Oh my God!
Oh, yeah, Jamie
Foxx
Foxx.
is Wanda. Oh my God! You could never, not a fucking million years.
Did you see him come
Bro,
by the
Dave
store and
Dave
stuff?
Chappelle talked about this, but it is a real thing.
What?
Why do they, in so many scripts, want masculine black men to dress like women? How many times has that happened?
It's a thing, you know, it's a trope, right?
That's a crazy trope. That's a crazy trope. When I don't remember who Dave was talking to. I forget who he was talking to, but he was explaining this.
Wasn't Kat talking about that too? Where he's
Oh, yeah.
like, can't we just rewrite it to where that's not in there?
Well, it's a real thing. I mean, how many examples are there? And who's writing it?
You would think at this point it's such a cliche that you would censor yourself, be like, okay, this is almost hack at this point. Like, let me not put this in here.
It's a weird thing to ask someone to do. It's a weird thing to say, hey, that guy with all the big muscles, let's put him in a dress.
It'll be
and
fine.
Give him lipstick and give him a wig and give him high heels and call him Wanda.
It's got to be tough too, where you go, because it's a big break for some people, and you go, I don't want to do this.
Right. Well, the Jamie Foxx one, guaranteed was their idea because it's just a funny character. It's just you couldn't do that today.
Yeah.
Right. You couldn't do that today. What would that be?
I'm kind of like that when it comes to like terrorist shit, you know, like because you know when you're a young performer and actor, sometimes the opportunities come through. They go, hey, will you say Allah Akbar on CSI or some shit? You know what I mean? I go, I don't know how much this helps my career, you know? Like, how am I going to level up from saying Allah Akbar and just like disappearing?
Right.
So it's really not net positive, and I'm trying to be a stand-up comedian. So if I was just trying to be an actor,
Right.
then sometimes you're stuck doing, like Samuel L. Jackson had to do some parts that maybe he didn't love doing early on in
for
his
sure.
career. Yeah.
For sure. But it's just that particular one, getting black men to dress up like women.
Yeah.
That's a fucking weird one, man. That's a real one and a weird one.
a weird
like
one.
there's so many examples of it. And if you think about white men, like muscular white men, how many times have muscular white men been asked to dress up like women for funny? Way less.
Right.
Fucking way less. Way more white men in movies, way less white men wearing dresses. That's crazy. You got Mrs. Doubtfire, but that's a character that he's doing.
Right.
That's kind of different because he's not.
Because he's immersed. He looks like
Yeah.
Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, he's all in. He's got
it's not a
rubber
bad,
outfit. Yeah.
You don't even know that's Robin Williams under there.
Right. But what was the Tu Wong Fu Julie
Oh,
Newmar?
yeah.
Yeah. That was like they were all
John
drag queens.
Leguizamo.
But that's drag queens.
Okay.
Little different, right? Because
All
they're
right.
all drag queens.
Right.
So Wesley Snipes gets a pass on that
yeah,
one.
Wesley
Sort of
Snipes.
because he's one of the drag queens.
Yo, I love Wesley Snipes.
But it was just Wesley in a dress. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on with this movie?
Do you think it was initially?
Yes.
Wesley? And they
And
go,
then they
he
said-
needs. Let's surround him so it's not so obvious. Let's give him some
Exactly.
friends.
That's how you pull it off.
It's like when you get condoms at the store, but then you have a banana and then like some candy just to throw you off the scent.
That's hilarious.
Leguizamo, man, I love him. He's so good.
He's great in John Wick.
Oh, he's in that. Is that the
Yeah.
latest one?
No, he was in the first one.
Oh,
He's
okay.
the guy that tells John Wick who killed his dog.
I always think it's so funny, man. Like that's how much Americans or just people in general love dogs, where this guy's dog gets killed and then John Wick murders like
He murdered,
thousands
like,
of people,
100 people.
and then everyone in the movie
Yeah.
theater's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that checks out.
Yeah, that's how
what
it
you
works,
get.
bro.
1,000 human lives
You don't
for
kill
a dog.
puppy, you piece of shit. It's a
Yeah.
fucking puppy.
I remember I was
And
trying
he
to
stole his car too. Don't forget that.
I was trying to watch that movie with my girlfriend because I had heard it was.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, and then she's like, "No, I don't want to watch it. Like a puppy gets hurt." I go, "They don't show it. It's not like the whole Like they don't show it like
Right.
you know what I mean?
Right.
And also it's just a jumping off point for the movie.
Right.
It's not like it's a puppy's getting worked over for 2 hours. You know, like where are the diamonds, puppy? I'm like, I'll tell you when the part's over.
Right.
And she just didn't even like the thought that a puppy gets hurt.
Right.
So she mentally couldn't ever get into John Wick.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You got to get fast forward to that part.
Right. I'd be like, no, the puppy lives in this version.
Just past the puppy part.
Yeah. Even that wasn't enough.
get-
I couldn't trick her into watching it. I had to do a solo.
But that's like the Barbie movie for dudes.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It is basically the same thing because girls do not want to sit there and watch this handsome man assassinate
fuck all these
150
people
people. But every guy does.
You're like, babe, wake up. Come on.
Every guy-
You're missing him.
Dude, there's a scene where John Wick goes into the bathhouse and he's trying to kill Vigo's son, and he essentially assassinates all the assassins in the bathhouse. It's like one of the most intense scenes in the history of fucking action movies. It's so good that when I was doing the Sober October challenge with Tom and Ari and Bert, and we had a fitness challenge, and I just stayed on the elliptical machine watching that scene like over and over and over again. This fucking scene is intense, man. The first John Wick is absolutely my favorite John Wick.
How
'Cause
many are they
get
up to now?
There's 4. They get a little cartoony. They're still fun, but it's a different thing.
Right. Well, once
the
you get
first
deep in
John
the
Wick-
franchise, it gets cartoony.
Yeah, the first John Wick was the shit. It was the shit. Such a good movie. It's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeehaw.
Brain.
Take me away brainless for 2 hours.
Oh, there's a place for that.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer, I'm like learning all this stuff, you know?
Right.
Like, I feel like if they wheel, I mean, they don't wheel TVs in anymore, but when the teachers turn on Oppenheimer, you know the classes are fucking lit.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's like educational and awesome.
Educational, awesome, and today's.
Yeah.
Some today's.
I think a lot of kids are going to get into science because of the fucking.
That's the crazy thing about scientists, man, is that they were all like intellectual rock stars. They were like these wild renegade people.
Yeah.
And a lot of them did some fucking. And I think that was also part of the appeal of being a great scientist, is that you had like groupies, you know, just like singers.
Well, I've noticed that about any profession or art form. If you're a guy and you just excel in whatever field it is you are, there are going to be women who are attracted to that field, even if it's stamp collecting.
Bro.
Just women are attracted to excellence in no matter how niche a thing might be.
Professional pool players would always bat way over their heads with girls who played pool. Like guys who are like really good pool players, they always did way better with girls than they should have.
Even stand up. Like if I didn't have stand up, I don't think I would bat. If I was still an engineer at Boeing.
You're a handsome guy. You'd find a nice girl.
But comedy.
You'd have a family by now.
I would.
You'd have a bunch of kids and a dog.
I think about that.
Have to get the dog trained because it runs in the street.
Pretty much.
Damn it.
Like entertainment is such Arrested Development because all the trappings of a traditional life are weight if you're trying to make it with a certain thing. So
Right.
I think we hit these benchmarks later in life, and it's hard, especially when you have like parents who there's a certain time to be doing certain things,
Yeah.
right? Like I should have a house, I should have a wife, I should have
Yeah.
kids, I should have
Yeah.
a dog. But to do what we do is so labor intensive and hard, and
Yeah.
so it delays your life a few years, or at least for these traditional benchmarks.
Yeah, you can't. If you're going to go down this road, it's 10 years before you're any good.
Yeah.
It's a long-ass road. I mean, you can get pretty good before then, but to really, like, say, like, I think that's okay. I think other people can listen to this. I think other people can watch this. It's like 10 years.
And also to get some footing career-wise and
Yeah.
financially. Only in the last couple of years have I felt kind of comfortable in this as a profession. Because when I left Boeing, it just felt like, did I make a mistake? 'Cause
Right.
you can't see the other end of the shore.
Yeah.
So it's hard operating from that space of like, is this a viable career? Have I planted enough roots in the comedy game? And like things are better now. So
If you're good and you believe you're good, you got to burn the boats.
yeah.
You got to burn the boats.
I wouldn't have been doing it if I didn't believe that I had the aptitude.
If you have a boat
Yeah.
to get back to your air-conditioned house and eat mangoes, you're going to get back on the fucking boat. You got to burn the boat.
Yeah.
100%.
I like
burn
that
the
quote
boat.
in Gattaca. You ever watch Gattaca? It's one of my
I
favorite
watched
movies.
a little bit of it.
It's so good. Ethan
Wait,
Hawke.
that's- yes.
And Uma Thurman.
I think Yes,
It's about
I definitely
genetics
watched
and
that.
stuff.
I was confusing it with a television show.
Oh, but
Oh.
there's this poignant scene.
Which one am I confusing it with?
Battlestar Galactica.
No,
Oh,
I watched all
that's
that.
great, too.
Battlestar Galactica is fucking
Gaius
amazing.
Baltar. Is that?
That is one of the most
So good.
underrated series. The second one.
I was
the
watching it
second
when
one?
it was on Sci-Fi, and they were
This is
shooting
like
it in
the movie
Vancouver
about
at the
CRISPR
time.
before CRISPR existed.
Gattaca. That's
So
it.
good, man.
That's right.
So there's two brothers. One of them is genetically designed and everything.
Right.
He has all the gifts of technology, and then Ethan Hawke is like a natural baby, which is kind of
Doom.
a second-class citizen.
Yeah,
so they're kind
that's
of
the future,
they
bro.
clean. They're like janitors and stuff. And there's this point in the movie where they used to race or they used to swim, and the genetically superior brother would always beat the natural baby, Ethan Hawke. And then when they kind of lose touch, and at the end they do it one last time, you know. And so Ethan Hawke is winning, and this isn't supposed to be happening. And he's like, "How are you doing this?" And he's like, "I never saved anything for the swim back." And just that quote, it just fucking hits me. Because he's doing what's not supposed to be happening, you know?
Jesus.
It's a good movie. from
It's
the
my
90s.
favorite. I mean, if there's one takeaway from me doing Joe Rogan podcast, it's watch Gattaca. One time I showed it to a
I
girlfriend.
don't
and
think
she
I've
didn't
seen
like
this whole
it.
movie. I think this is one of those movies that I started and something happened. I got distracted and I stopped watching.
Please watch it.
I will. I have so many of them, man.
I know.
I can't keep up. I did watch Oppenheimer, though. Fucking fascinating.
Yeah, I didn't know him and Einstein were boys. That was cool. I didn't know they talked at a pond that much.
Yeah. I wonder how much that's legit. You know, you can
It
write
looks
a lot
good. It
of,
looks good.
You can write a lot of nonsense into a movie after
Right.
someone's dead. And then he said, "Bitches ain't shit."
Right.
I never said that. I never fucking
Einstein
said
didn't
that.
say that.
I mean, you could
no, he
really,
did.
you could kind of like paint a person.
For sure.
You know, that was a big criticism that people had from the Bruce Lee scene in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
But that was obviously comedy. That was interesting when
Sort of.
that really?
No,
I
sort of.
read it as comedy.
No, Tarantino kind of defended it. You know, he said that Bruce Lee was like known for being very arrogant, and he said something about he'd beat Muhammad Ali in a fight. I'm like, that's crazy. If you really said that, that's so insane.
He's a cocky
Bruce
guy.
Lee was 135 pounds. Muhammad Ali at the time was 220, 225, the greatest boxer of all time.
Yeah.
Heavyweight, knocking out heavyweights.
Yeah, that would have been a great UFC match. Just
Especially
Ali versus.
if you're talking about him in like 1967 before they made him retire for 3 years. He was insanely good. Like, if you want to watch how good Muhammad Ali was, watch Muhammad Ali in 1967 when he fights Cleveland Big Cat Williams. I always tell him, watch that fight, because Cleveland Williams is this murderous puncher, and Muhammad Ali is putting on a show. He's dancing and moving like you can't believe. Like, no heavyweight before him remotely moved like him. It's so hard to put it in perspective now, because we think about fighters now like we've seen so many great heavyweights. We've seen so many great welterweights and light heavyweights, and the world of boxing, like, we have so much footage. But back then, in 1967, there was
Nobody doing that.
Where's your footage? Where you what? You're gonna get a projecting screen and sit down. If it's not on TV, you're
Yeah.
not gonna see it. So you watch whatever the fuck they show you on TV, and no one had ever seen a guy move like that, especially in the heavyweight division. He moved like Sugar Ray Robinson, who was a 147-pounder.
Is there anyone comparable you would say nowadays like that?
No, there's no one. There's no one comparable in terms of like how different they were than everyone before them. He was so different. Could you please show me some of the Cleveland Big Cat Williams Muhammad Ali highlights? Bro, he was so different. He would knock guys out moving backwards. You know, he decided when he would take it up a notch. He put different paces on you, pop the jab on you, move, make you miss a bunch of times, make you feel stupid, drop his hands, pop you again, move around. You can't catch him. And when you're thinking about boxing in 1967, there's no heavyweights that move like this. They don't exist, man. This guy is a freak. So everybody before him moves like Cleveland does, you know, moving forward, looking to land the big power shots. And look how big Cleveland was. Jesus Christ, is he jacked. Look at the fucking arms on that guy. Murderous puncher. Very dangerous guy. And Ali's just dancing in front of him. Just shuffling and dancing. Just out of range. And then eventually he starts catching him. Just starts tuning him up. Scoot your head a little bit here. So once he gets loose, he starts opening up with combinations, and he moves away, and then Cleveland moves forward, and he pops him with the jab, pops him with a hook, and now Cleveland's befuddled, right? Because now, you know, I can't hit this fucking guy, and he can hit me anytime he wants, which is just, that's not how boxing is in the heavyweight division.
Yeah.
You have big power punchers with big jabs and guys with great technique. You got Joe Louis and, you know, you got Floyd Patterson. You got all these different great heavyweights, but none of them fight like this fucking guy. None of them
Do they
fight
just
like this guy.
slowly charge, kind of was the style before Ali, just sort of like slow and steady?
Well, everybody was just power punchers in the heavyweight division. They'd just move forward. They would throw good jabs. They had good boxing fundamentals, but they didn't move with the footwork like that. That footwork was insane. So if you're standing in front of him, the realization after 3 or 4 rounds of this is like, I can't take too many more of these. He's not hitting me with one knockout punch, but he's hitting me 150 times in the face. And he's hitting me in a way that I can't hit him back. Look at this popping this jab. Just moving and effortlessly. He would run miles backwards. There's the 1-2. That's it. That's the beginning of it. He would run miles backwards. Backwards. Run backwards.
So just insane cardio, too.
Insane
These guys can't even
cardio.
keep up.
Insane dedication. So this is one of the most tragic, from a boxing fan's perspective, one of the most tragic things in boxing is that they took it away from him for 3 years, and he was never really this guy again. This guy that you see here in 67, he stopped training. When he came back and fought after that, he just didn't look like the same guy. He wasn't the same guy physically. He didn't, you know, maintain his training during those 3 years off. Look at that, dude. Look how good he was. I mean, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding
That's
me?
nuts.
So that was like the most revolutionary thing in boxing, like that guy in 1967. Like one of the most revolutionary things ever, to see a heavyweight move like that. And then you got Tyson in the 80s.
Yeah, well, and then he was out of his prime, too, for a bit, right?
Yep. Yeah, but he had already...
Was he saved by the bell right here? I thought this was the end of the fight.
No, it's not. He gets up.
Isn't that the...
Bro, they just let people let people just be out cold.
Right there's like the famous photo, though, right? Where he's standing over him? Or is that
No,
someone
no,
else?
that's the Sonny Liston photo.
okay.
That's when he knocked Sonny Liston out in Lewiston, Maine, and they said it was a fixed fight. And it looks a little suspicious. Have you ever seen that one?
No.
Knowing that a lot of people suspect that this is a fake fight and that Liston really wasn't hurt that bad, that he took a dive, watch this.
Okay.
Because you watch like how he's trying to get up, you're like, as a person who's seen a lot of people get knocked out, I've seen probably more people that get knocked out. Watch it. Here's the right hand. It's a solid right hand. Absolutely legit. No doubt about it. But watch how Liston goes down. So a lot of people said that it was a phantom punch. It's not a phantom punch. It's an absolute, watch this, over the top, boom. See the jaw shift? That's a real punch. That's a real knockdown. That's not a dive. But what happens is when Liston goes down, so he throws his jab, Ali comes over the top, and bang. That's a 100% legit punch. But when Liston goes down, that's when it gets shenanigans. See if they scoot ahead to watch if they. Is this just?
It's just the punch.
Okay, just show me the actual knockout. There it is. Is that it? It's you got to see when he gets up, because when he gets up, that's when it looks fake. When he gets up, when he's down. No, this is like a bunch of different fights. See if you can find it.
Did you box, or you're always doing?
I did some kickboxing. Here it is. Here it is. Right here. So he hits him. He knocks him down. Now watch. He goes down. Now this is where it gets a little shenanigan-y. So I'm watching him roll around. He gets to his knees, and he falls back down again. It just looks a little like he's not trying to stop himself from going to his back. It looks a little funky. So like he gets up, and look, he's looking away. He's not even looking at Ali. So they're not deciding yet whether or not the fight is stopped. And now Ali is fucking teeing off on him. And then they stop the fight. It was very shenanigan-y.
Right.
You know? It looked a little shenanigan-y.
He made contact, though. I don't know.
But it's also like the humiliation that Liston suffered from the first fight. The first fight was 100% legit.
Yeah.
In the first fight, when he fought Sonny Liston was this murderous puncher, man. He was one of the most murderous punchers ever. He fucked up Floyd Patterson so bad. He was so dangerous. He was so scary. and he was a thug. Like, he was a crazy dude. Like, during one of the press conferences, see if you can find this. Ali was talking crazy shit. Liston pulled out a fucking gun. He pulled out a gun and shot through the fucking ceiling.
Are these
And
people
everybody
being,
scrambled.
Are they legit nutty like that, or is this partly PR for the fight? Like, if I shoot a gun, this will draw eyeballs.
No. That was who Sonny Liston was. And what Muhammad Ali was doing was trying to get into his head.
And a bum through a bullhorn.
Shoots blanks. Here it
The
is.
situation finally came to a head when Clay approached Liston at the Desert Inn in Las Vegas, where the champ was shooting craps and losing. Liston was in no mood to be harangued by the mouth from the south.
Oh,
Liston
shit.
fired, frightening his young tormentor into a hasty retreat. The gun was filled with blanks.
Yo.
He just put it in his coat pocket to prove it's a
Yo.
blank. I'd be terrified, dude.
By the way, those can still kill you. Like, people that
Yeah.
put blanks up to their head, the force of the gas coming out of the barrel of the gun can kill you. And it has killed people. A guy did it on a set once. He was just
Jeez.
fucking around with a blank. And,
they have so much protocol whenever there's a gun.
bro,
on
that's
set.
so scary.
Move quick.
Yeah, look how fast his fucking reflexes were. He dodged a bullet.
Yeah.
Like, legitimately.
He's talking shit. He dodges fast.
Bro, but he would constantly talk shit at every press conference. It got so bad to the point where when they did his like the weigh-in thing, like after the weigh-in, his heart rate was so high, his blood pressure was so high that they had to calm him down or they weren't going to let him fight. Because he just like worked himself up into a frenzy to fuck with Liston. He would show up in front of Liston's house and yell on his front lawn. Like, he climbed into that dude's head.
Oh, I'm sure. How crazy to be that gifted as a fighter and that gifted as a shit talker as well.
Unprecedented shit talker.
Yeah.
No one before him did poetry. No one did rhymes. Like, you don't
He
understand.
did his work to get inside his
Bro,
head.
my parents were hippies, and they had to watch when Muhammad Ali was rematching Leon Spinks because it was on television. That's how much of like a cultural icon that guy was, because he stood against the Vietnam War, and that's why he lost 3 years of his career when he was in his prime. In 1967, he's like, I'm not going to Vietnam. He goes, no Viet Cong ever did shit to me.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this. And they took away his ability to box for 3 years. And, my parents were like very anti-war. They were like, this is our guy. Like, the whole country was like, this is a person who represented sense. He made sense when the world was going crazy and they were talking people into fighting this nonsense war in Vietnam. And you could possibly lose your life or lose a leg or lose a friend or lose your father or lose your... What? And he was like, fuck that. And he was right.
Yeah. Was it one of those things that it took years to get clarity on it like, as a collective whole of society, whereas at the time he's probably raked over the coals, right?
100%. There was a lot of people that didn't look. We had associated wars before Vietnam with these just wars, like World War I and World War II. We thought of those as just wars, like you're trying to stop evil. There's a guy who's hopped up on meth in Germany, and he literally hopped up on meth.
That was a simple one.
Trying to take over the world. That's a simple one. These are just wars, right? By the way, they're not simple. They're
Right,
super
right.
complicated, and there's a lot of...
But in terms of cartoony bad
Yes,
guys,
bad guy, good guy. We're the good guys, and we like to think of ourselves like that. So when we're at war, if we're at war to stop communism in Vietnam, we, at the time, I think collectively there was a lot of like hardcore fucking blue collar Republican type people that were like, yeah, you got to do what the fuck you have to do to protect freedom, right? But then they didn't know that the whole thing was staged. They didn't know that Gulf of Tonkin incident was a false flag, just to justify us getting into that crazy ass war for who knows what reason. But there's a lot of them, a lot of reasons. So now people have a different sort of feeling when it comes to war.
so do you think that was the first
At this
time
point, I would
people
like to
became-
play "Fuck a War" by the Ghetto Boys, but Spotify will allow this. And do you know that song?
Maybe if I heard it,
Bro, give me a little bit of this. Willie wrote that in 45 minutes.
that's crazy. Like, how do you
It's a
write that
fucking
in
great
45?
song, man. It's a great song. And it's right. He's right.
Yeah.
He's right. And,
It's interesting to see the evolution of rap, like when it started, it was like very socially conscious and stuff. I know they're still doing that, but in terms of what becomes popular on a like pop scale for rap, do you know Russ at all? It's interesting hearing him talk about it. He's this hip hop artist who's like independent. He was on Flagrant talking about rap, and like what happens is a certain type of rap gets popular, and then it becomes uncool, or you move to the next thing. Like being socially conscious is cool, and then just having fun and wilding out is cool, and then what's the next phase? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like it doesn't exist. It just becomes smaller piece of the larger genre pie. And now rap is so big. There's subgenres of it, like rock. You know, there's indie rock. And now there's emo rap.
Well, there always kind of was different genres, even back in the day. Like I was always a big De La Soul fan.
Yeah, same.
Three's the Magic Number. That's a jam, son.
Yeah.
That's a jam, and that was very different kind of hip hop.
But now it's getting so granular, like even more so.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of interesting. I was like, oh yeah, it did start.
Remember
as like a
Third
social-
Base?
How did Third Base? Were they
Pop
white guys?
goes the weasel, goes the weasel, goes pop. Yeah, they're white guys. You don't remember that?
Did one of a flat top?
They had like a diss track against Vanilla Ice.
I like that
It
battle.
was
That's fun.
Pop goes the weasel.
And Vanilla is the weasel.
It's people that go pop. People, they were hardcore.
Third Base.
Yeah.
Oh, Giannis was talking about this.
What's
I was
interesting
on-
is that dude eventually went on to host a daytime talk show,
what was it about?
which is like the poppiest thing of all time.
like a Ricky Lake type thing.
Yeah, like one of them things.
Did he have the flat top?
I believe he kept the flat top even when he hosted his
That's
show.
impressive, though. That's an impressive flat top.
It's a serious flat top. I don't even know how you get that going on as a white guy. There must be some products involved.
MC Search.
MC Search. They're good though, man. Third Base was good.
Oh yeah, yeah.
They had some great jams, and MC Search had a great album himself too. It was great. They were good, but for whatever reason, the white guy rapper, there's only one.
Well,
I mean,
yeah,
the big one,
what,
Eminem. Yeah,
Yeah.
There's other ones.
Well,
there's other great white rappers. Don't get me wrong, but
He had to be so technically proficient, and it's amazing what he had to do to be able to be accepted. He
Right.
needed the vouch. He needed to have the skill set that he has.
Right.
Because before him, I think young people don't realize. That's what's kind of cool about the younger generation, like Gen Z and stuff, is
Yeah.
they just like art. They don't care what your vessel is.
Right.
Like there's a rapper, Rich Brian. He's Asian, and like he's great at rapping, but he's like an Asian kid. Whereas before, you weren't able to receive music from a vessel that looked different than what the norm
Right.
is.
well, and then there was my man Everlast, House of Pain. That was the best of like the white rap bands by
Yeah.
far. House of Pain was awesome. Dude, Jump Around.
Oh, Jump
To
Around,
this
yeah.
day, when that song comes out for the UFC, when someone comes out as that song for a walk-in song, that is a great fucking walk-in song. That's a great I'm in the gym song. That's a great driving song. That's a let's fucking go song. That's a let's fucking go song.
Oh,
Come on,
just hearing
son.
those, you know what it is
Yeah.
immediately. And then
That's it.
That's all we get.
That's all we get. God damn it,
Might have been
YouTube.
too much. I don't know.
This is the beautiful freedom that we have on Spotify. I think we're gonna start doing that, Jamie. I'm not gonna
just
compromise.
Spotify exclusives.
Yeah, just have little clips. Cut it out for YouTube. People will know.
Yeah.
We'll know. We'll put the full one out on Spotify.
The Vibe Corner.
God damn it, these rules.
So what is
Fucking rules,
How
bro.
is the new deal different than like
No
what you're
more
able?
Hamas talk. That's the new deal. It's a big part of it.
That makes
The
sense. That makes
algorithm-
sense.
the
Yeah.
algorithm
After the election
pops.
cycle, then
Yeah, then I could discuss
Go back to it.
the bombings.
right.
Yeah. It's just going to be everywhere now. Well, it's going to be on Apple, Amazon, and YouTube, as well as on Spotify.
That's pretty great. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it's cool.
So it's kind of like the way it was before the move to Spotify. Like you're getting some
Pretty
of
much.
the
Yeah, pretty much. But my deal's with Spotify.
right.
So Spotify and it's instead of, they have a vested interest in it being successful everywhere. So we're all in it together.
Oh, is that the thought? Like, okay,
Yeah.
we're drawing people in via Apple Podcast, these different YouTube, and
Right.
it just
and
draws back
they'll
to.
make money off of it being on the other shows too.
Oh, okay.
It's all good. It's good for everybody.
Yeah.
It's good, and it's wider distribution is good, and it's just like, look, people get attached to certain platforms. Some people are super attached to Apple, and I used to be as well. I used to get all my podcasts on Apple. It was it's super convenient. It uploads automatically. You know, you can set it like that, so you know when the new episodes are up. It's perfect. Works great. So I get if they didn't want to switch over and listen to Spotify. I mean, I knew that when we first started doing it. I was like, a lot of people are going to be like, sorry.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shit to listen to, which is great.
Right.
It's a fucking great time if you're interested in listening to stuff. I mean, the amount of audiobooks available are fucking insane. It's insane. You could never go bored. You will always get entertained or educated or something. There's so many of them. But the amount of podcasts now it's bonkers. There's like 5 million podcasts.
Yeah, I remember years ago talking to Ari at the store. This is maybe like when podcasting was 2.0, or I'm like, everyone has a podcast. And he's like, everyone has a TV show. They don't stop making TV shows. And that was really eye-opening to me too. Like, just because there's a lot of them doesn't mean there's no place for new ones and
Bro,
such.
I used to tell so many people to do a podcast that it was a meme, that it was annoying. I was telling everyone to do a podcast, and I wasn't right.
You
I wasn't correct.
You're like, I want to apologize to society.
I fucked up a couple of times, but I felt like, and I do feel like, I don't think it's the easiest road, but I think if you're a person who's interesting to talk to, you could find other people that are also interesting to talk to and sit down and people enjoy it. It's like you can do it,
Right.
but it's going to take some work. So if you dedicate yourself to it and try to figure out what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, what makes you annoying, what's more interesting, if you do it right, like treat it like any other thing, you'll get better at it. But it's not going to come easy. There's
Yeah.
too many of them out there. But it's free.
It's free.
You could just do it. You could just upload it to YouTube. It doesn't cost that much.
Right.
To
And
put together.
It's not like you're filming a sitcom and it costs so much a soundstage. The
Right.
overhead is so low to do a podcast. So
Yeah.
it's worth the trial of doing it. And also I think just in the stand-up space, it's a great two-hander because you don't always put a special out all the time, and like being able to check in with your fans week to week.
Yeah.
They like that, just being a part of your live and stuff. And then they kind of want to know what your baseline is off stage as well, because then they feel closer to you as a performer, you know?
Yeah.
Like access is the new mystery, I feel like, in entertainment. Whereas before it was like, oh, Humphrey Bogart or these starlets, you only got glimpses of what they were. But now that's almost like a kiss of death. You have to be like, hey guys, here I am. I'm at Whole Foods. I'm getting like access. They want to feel like, oh, I know them. That's
Right.
valuable.
Yeah.
The only guy who doesn't have to play that game anymore is like Daniel Day-Lewis. He can
Make
he can make
shoes.
shoes. Like no one's telling Daniel Day-Lewis to live tweet.
Well, there's
his
certain
movie.
actors that are on the fringes, right? Not on the fringes, meaning they're like everybody knows who they are, but they might not be the first pick for a big project, right? And the only way they think they can keep their name out there is to do stuff. So they have to get photographed on red carpets, and they have to. Sometimes they like tell the paparazzi where they're going to be.
Yeah.
They like work things. They have publicists that set things up so you can casually see them. Doing something, like fucking intimate, like working out on the beach.
Yeah,
some
yeah.
shit like
Oh,
that.
you guys are here. Oh,
How crazy.
I look great.
I'm oiled up.
right.
There's-
What are the odds?
Yeah, there's some silliness to it, but I get it. It's a business. Your business is you, and this is a business decision that you're making. I get it, but it's just like that's a different thing than comics. With us, the best thing that we have going on is like this network of all of us. That's the best thing we have going on. Because now instead of relying on like Comedy Central to tell you who's good, or it's a total meritocracy, and it's almost always entirely based on are you funny and are you fun? Are you fun to hang around with?
Yeah.
And if you're funny and fun to hang around with, yay, we're all going to have fun. And that's
Yeah.
great for everybody.
It's
great for
awesome,
the people that
man.
are listening. It's great for us. It's
I'm
great
so
to keep the art
fortunate.
form popping.
That it's shifted this way.
Yeah.
And now this is like a viable release route for me. Like I have the special coming out. I get to do this. I get to do Bad Friends.
You don't have to be chosen.
You don't have to be chosen. And
Yeah.
also, like, who better than other comedians to know what's what in the field?
Right.
We don't have any agenda. we're in the streets. We see what's going on. Whereas sometimes you get so high up at these corporations, they're like, okay, we need this demo, we need this person, this guy's from this agency, that's a favor. There's all this fuckery.
A lot of fuckery.
There's so much fuckery.
They should not be in control of this art form.
Well,
that's not their art form. It's our art form. It's the audience's art form.
You're seeing the cracks now. It's crumbling. I mean, I have no management now. Like, I like it that way. I just have an agency, and I'm getting approached sometimes, but like, we're at a point in entertainment and culture and stuff where, like, what value does like a 90s type manager have anymore? Because like the blueprint is different now. Like, these Hollywood opportunities don't help me as a stand-up comedian anymore.
It depends on what kind of a manager you have.
Yeah.
So if you have a really good manager is very beneficial because they can strategize with you about what you do and what the pros and cons of what you do are, and what's the best business decision, and how do you feel artistically about your set now. Have we thought about holding off for 6 months? You have people that are confidants.
Yeah, there's value in that if
Yeah.
you find the right person and they're keyed into what you're doing. But sometimes you go places, you're just part of a roster.
Yes.
Like, they're just...
There's a problem in the same thing. It's like factory farming. They're factory farming comedy. They try to get as many comics as they
They're
can.
collecting you.
Yeah.
They're collecting you and hoping you pop.
Exactly.
And
then
they
they
just
take a
siphon
piece.
off some 10%.
Yeah. But when you're a young comic and you're coming up, the idea of being in a management company is a fucking huge deal. It's like, and it is an opportunity too, because they can get you some things that you're not going to get without it.
For sure. Also,
They'll
you
get
have to
you booked at improvs. They'll get you some good gigs.
So, like, also where you are in your career. Like, I'm deep. I have a lot of connections. Like,
You're deep, bro.
I'm deep, dude. I
You
know
are
you.
deep.
I'm texting you.
You should write that. That should be a new special.
I'm deep?
bro. Lance can't
Well,
stop
yeah,
us.
I'm deep, bro.
That's it. We're
I-
making this happen.
I'm deep, bro.
I'm deep, bro.
The bro instantly negates the I'm deep is what I love.
Does
I'm
it though?
deep, bro.
I mean, Elon Musk can say it.
Yeah, people believe him though.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
He's
Like he can
"Oh,
say, I'm deep,
I'm
bro.
deep. I'm deep, bro.
He
He's
can say
so
it.
deep.
But some people still mock him. It's hilarious to me.
Yeah.
They call him the stupidest smart guy alive. I'm like, okay.
Are you gonna get a Neuralink? Are you gonna be like a hype beast, just
No.
sitting in line
I
waiting to get
will
equipped?
when I know that it's inevitable. I
Yeah.
will give up just like all of us will. Just like the people that wouldn't wear shoes forever. And they went, all right, shoes are
Shoes are
better.
pretty good.
They're way better than no
Yeah.
shoes. Fucking stepping on rocks and shit.
Right.
Cuts on your feet.
I think it's just funny.
Die from infections.
The guy who's waiting it out, like, all right, I'll do shoes now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks
Guys
pretty
get to a
cool.
certain point. He's like, yeah, they were right. You can run away from cats.
Yeah, I don't have Toxo. I don't have Toxo anymore.
I think at a certain point in time, everyone's going to get something. There's going to be some benefits to whatever it is, some interface, whether you wear it or whether it's a part of your body. There's going to be benefits that you can't get without it. And
Have you done Apple Vision Pro yet?
I have not. I am scared. I
About
am
that?
Scared. I am scared of Apple Vision Pro.
Oh, how so?
I don't want to
explain.
be walking around my fucking house.
Are you afraid you're gonna
swiping
like it?
things. 100%. I'm afraid I'm going to be sitting in my office watching movies instead of doing shit that I should be doing.
They show images of people on a plane with an Apple Vision Pro. I would just be so mortified to have that strapped to my head on a plane. You know what
I would
mean?
definitely strap it to my head on a plane.
Really?
Yeah, man, you're on a fucking plane. Wouldn't you rather watch a giant 3D movie?
It's just so. It just looks
you can
so
watch
silly.
Avatar in 3D on this fucking plane.
Yeah.
While you're smelling that guy next to you's farts.
Right. That is pretty cool.
You're in the fucking
Yeah.
jungle, and all of a sudden you're like, Jesus Christ.
It's just funny to think of an Apple Vision Pro and then going like,
Oh, bro,
fuck.
smelling people's farts on planes. It's one of the worst parts about flying.
well, you ever get a seat that's right next? I mean, not anymore for you, but like you're next to the lavatory. You're like, oh,
yeah,
great,
smelling
poop
people's
particles
poop.
the whole fucking time.
Just breathing in poop steam.
Yeah, sometimes I don't book a seat because it'll be extra if you do it ahead of time, and then if you leave it to the machine, sometimes you get fucked.
Bro, dropping a log on a public flight is a nightmare.
Yeah, that's like Joker shit.
It's a nightmare. You get in there and you got to drop a log.
It's kind
There's
of
people waiting to get in.
It's kind of thrilling. If you've ever shit on a plane, it's the pinnacle of technology.
kind of.
You like fuck the wheel, being able to shit in the sky.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about like, man, what if the plane was see-through or something?
You know what's wild is that sometimes when that shit, it basically freezes into like a brick, and sometimes like people have been hit by it.
They just drop it.
I don't know how they dispose of it normally, but I know that like people's houses have been hit by shit bricks.
But they get a nice little payout, huh?
I would hope you get a good payoff if frozen shit from 250 passengers falls from the sky and hits your fucking house.
You just have a neck brace.
Oh my God, yeah.
A frozen piece of shit from a Delta flight rocked me, but I got the money I deserve.
How do they normally get rid of that stuff, Jamie? They probably
I would imagine they pump
have,
it when they land or
I would
something.
imagine that's how they do it now.
Yeah.
But I do know that there's at least one story that I read about a house that got hit with a rock of shit.
like
it might have been some irresponsible fucking cargo plane.
They Dave Matthews it. You remember that story when they dropped a bunch of shit like from the tour bus and it landed on some people? The Dave Matthews
Really?
tour bus.
They got in trouble for that. Yeah.
They dumped shit from their tour bus?
I don't think Dave
They did
Matthews greenlit it, but whoever was
It
riding
was
the
over the Chicago River, I think. Like they emptied the bilge tube and it just like, I might have even gotten people that were one of those boats that went underneath it. I'll double
What
check
an
that.
honor, though. Dave Matthews shit drenching you. Like, if you're a huge fan,
Bro,
how cool.
I hope that guy got fired. That's the crazy roadie that gets some pills. He's like, I ain't going to the fucking dump.
Okay, wasn't
I'll
Chicago.
get rid of that shit right here in the river, bro.
There's a plaque there. Here you go.
So
that's where it happened.
It shows it. The afternoon of August 8th, 2004. At this very location, the Dave Matthews Band tour bus emptied the septic tank over the Chicago River.
Drenching passengers on a boat.
Drenching passengers on a boat tour with 800 pounds of human poop. No one died that day, but many wish they had.
There you go.
Wow.
That's so much poop.
The poop falling from the sky thing here is interesting.
But hold on, but just that one that's real.
I've been on that boat tour.
Could you imagine you just open the pipe over the water on a bridge?
Well, just bad
dumping on
timing.
people's?
What if those people weren't there? Would they have gotten away with
Did
it?
he even check?
That's a good point. How do you not know?
How do you not know? There's not a boat filled with a tour of people.
Because it's an
What are the
it's
odds?
architectural tour. You're taking in all these wonderful
Oh,
buildings.
you get drenched with shit from the sky.
Do you think you feel better when you find out it's Dave Matthews though? Because you just think it's rando shit.
Well, you think you're getting paid.
That's a good point.
How did that go down? There had to be a lawsuit, right?
I thought I had this up on the
They go, you can come to a concert.
He got 18 months of probation, 150 hours community service.
Stephen Wall, bro. $10,000 fine, which is paid to the Friends of
that's
Chicago
nothing.
River. That's it.
I would do it again for that
They
price.
were not on the bus.
The bus, which is reportedly being used by the band violinist Boyd Tinsley, was not occupied at the time of the incident. The Dave Matthews Band eventually agreed to pay $200,000 to settle a lawsuit filed by State Attorney General Lisa Madigan. Wold never drove a bus for the band again.
I almost feel like we're watching a movie, and it's like the end of the text. It's like, Wold never drove a
like
bus
Stand
again.
By Me.
And then you see the credits after that. Someone please do a biopic on this bus driver.
Bro, imagine if they didn't fire him. Imagine they're like, hey, people make mistakes.
Yeah.
You got good pills,
Yeah,
though?
yeah.
keep driving that bus, bro.
I vouch for him. He had one slip up.
It was a mistake.
He's great in every other regard.
He pressed the wrong button
Don't judge this poop thing.
and dumped poop, 800 pounds of it.
Ooh.
Bro, how about drain that thing before it gets to 800
That's a
pounds?
lot,
How many people are
yeah.
shitting in there? That's
I just
800.
reading the thing about the planes. I've never even thought of this, and this is disgusting. Cruise lines.
Oh, God.
That's
they just
so
dump
much
it in
shit.
the ocean?
There's apparently a law. For example, sewage needs to be treated if it's going to be flushed within 3 miles of the coastline.
Oh, my God. But
this
when they're
says-
out in the middle of nowhere,
Yeah,
they
I've
just
never
flush
thought
it?
about that.
Average cruise ship generates an average of 21,000 gallons of sewage and 170,000 gallons of what they call gray water.
Oh, my
which is water from the drains of sinks, showers, laundry machines, and has all sorts of stuff.
It's a mini Fukushima. All over the ocean.
They just send in the
Just
elderly
toxic waste.
Japanese people to fix the septic leak in there.
It's a mini Fukushima everywhere in the ocean.
Oh, and on the space station, since urine is 90% water, they kind of reuse some of it. It says
Oh,
They
good
recycle
Lord.
it.
they recycle the water, sends it to a processor.
That's
because-
less disgusting.
I know it is,
But
but
man.
Have you done cruise ship, stand up on a cruise ship?
No.
Yeah.
You want to hear something crazy? They took cargo boats and for the UN climate change standards, they changed the emission standards of these cargo boats, and a very unexpected thing happened. The water temperature got warmer. because there's less haze in the sky. So the haze in the sky was actually cooling things off. So the fucking pollution from these cargo ships, the diminishing of the pollution from the cargo ships actually made the water warmer. Yeah, the total opposite thing that they wanted to happen happened.
And then what do they do? Just like whoops.
Whoops.
We had a theory.
Which
and
is
then
what
science.
a lot of this like climate change speculation is all about. Whoops. There's a lot of we didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
You know, what scares the fuck out of me, dude, is ice age, and ice age scares the fuck out of me because there's not a goddamn thing you could do about it. I'm not happy if the world gets warmer and we lose California, but. You know, move in. Fucking, this is the reason why Atlantis is at the bottom of the ocean, kids. Okay, things change. Change. Adjust and move.
I was
okay?
here when there was that blizzard in Austin. I was out
Let's
here.
not bring in a goddamn ice age.
Yeah.
When these crazy fuckers are talking about spraying things in the sky to cool the earth down, like, hey. Let's talk this through first. The whole fucking planet, not you wacky dudes talking to strange scientists in the middle of the Pentagon. Like, let's all talk this through.
Before we do anything.
Let's all talk this through before you spray the sky to cool the earth off and bring in hell. Bring in the White Walkers.
What it's going to turn into Game of Thrones.
The last thing you want is it to get colder. That is the fucking last thing you want. Take it from a guy who's been camping in Montana.
Yeah.
You do not want to be in the cold. You don't want it. You don't want fucking mile-high caps of ice over most of North America like it was 10,000 years ago. Are you stupid?
I know. It gets to like 50 in LA, and I'm like, this is cold.
This is not bad. Like what we got going on, if this is not bad. If it gets a little warmer, it's not as good. But we're going to be okay. We can sort out warming.
Right.
And the ocean levels is kind of the same. Like, what happened to all that Al Gore stuff? Remember from that movie, An Inconvenient
Oh,
Truth?
yeah.
I thought Miami's going to be
That
underwater
did
by
really
now.
well, right?
I thought we were
Everyone was
fucked.
watching that doc.
What were the predictions? Because they were kind of crazy, and none of them came true.
Like we'd be swimming in this podcast
We'd be
studio right
fucked.
now.
We'd be done. We'd be done. Yeah, this is too low. We're only at like 1,500 feet above sea level. I could tell you. Oh, I'm not wearing my Garmin watch. I have a watch that'll tell you where you're at.
Really?
Pretty dope.
I just do the Apple Watch.
Pretty dope to
The
know.
Apple Watch is kind of like the Prius of watches. Like people can't tell if you're rich or poor.
Well,
right?
Apple Watch is a great watch, and the Ultra is the shit. That Apple Watch Ultra, Red Band has that. That is the shit.
How is it different than like what I got?
It's just bigger, more battery, more features, a larger screen. It's a little bit more like I'm a robot.
This is so dumb, but like the biggest feature I use on this watch is like when I'm cooking and I'm like, set timer for 2 minutes. Like I'm Dick Tracy.
Right.
I use it for laundry. I just use it as a timer. That's like the big sell to me.
Well, you know, Red Band is like a giant tech head.
I imagine he's on an Apple Vision right now.
Yeah, most likely.
The most earliest adopter. He has a Neuralink right now, I'm sure.
He'll get that for sure. Yeah. He'll be the first to take
To try it
gene
out.
editing.
He's like, it's got some kinks.
Yeah.
He's
Probably
bleeding.
should have waited.
Yeah.
Probably should have waited till they're going to fix it.
I'm
though.
giving some notes to Elon, but it's good. I'm glad I did it.
If you do get it, you will have such an advantage. That's the problem. If it does work, the thing is like if it works, and what are the side effects, and how long does it last, and what if it breaks, and what if Russia hacks it?
You're speaking Russian.
What if they hack it? What if like the moment it gets to a certain number of people that have it, China flips a switch?
I mean, just something being in your brain is such a big sell, right? Like
That's
it's not
a hard
thing.
sell.
It's a hard sell.
That's a fucking hard sell. But then there's toxoplasmosis, which is in there for 40% of us.
What is plasmosis?
The stuff we talked about earlier, the cat thing. Toxo.
Fuck. You just willingly get toxo.
Yeah, maybe the cell phone thing will be like a neurological
Just thinking about it.
electronic toxo.
What is the promise of Neuralink?
Well, initially, the first person that they did it on, which is fairly recently, is a person who's paralyzed, and through Neuralink, he can now move a cursor around, and he can do things, and he's going to be able to like express himself. The way Elon said, at the speed of a carnival barker.
Wow.
He'll be able to.
Those
like,
guys are fast.
They're fast, very fast, very
Yeah,
fast.
yeah.
So the idea is that he'll be able to communicate, which is for a person who's been paralyzed and can't operate a cursor or a
Huge.
computer is huge, right?
So,
so that's one thing. they eventually think they may be able to use it to let people who have been paralyzed move.
Like a walk again?
Yeah. What is the work that's been done on that specifically, Jamie? Let's see. I don't want to talk out of school. The people being able to eventually, they hope that it'd be able to restore movement to people with nerve damage.
Right now, I think there's still, when I've looked this up online, there's a little bit of a pushback from some people.
Of course.
Because the only way that this has been announced that it works is just Elon's tweet. There hasn't been any other proof, I guess, if you will.
I'm all in. If Elon tweeted it, it's got to be legit.
Yeah.
He's a wild boy. He's so wild. He just tweets things.
Does he come by the club a lot?
He's been in the club. Has he been in the club?
I imagine he's so
He's been
busy.
to a lot of the
I
Stubbs
doubt he's
shows.
like hanging there every day.
No, I don't think he has been. He might have came down when Dave was here.
Oh.
But it's awesome having him around. He's a fascinating dude.
I mean, how exciting for the comics. Like, yo, Elon's here.
Well, he came to a bunch of our shows when we had Stubbs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. It's like that was when there was nothing to do.
Well, I got to do one of those Stubbs shows. So
Those are so
when I
fun.
had that writing job, it was like Willy Wonka. You're like, hey, I'm doing a show with me and Chappelle at Stubbs. Do you want to? And I'm literally like writing a sitcom. You know, I'm in a writer's room and it's like kind of boring. And to get this awesome like call to the bullpen, like, yo, do you want to come? I'm like, yeah, let me ask them real quick. I go. And I still have to ask. I'm like, hey guys, I might do a show with Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle later tonight. Can I leave like 30 minutes early? And they're so cool. They're like, yeah, go. It's like a rom-com. They're like, oh, what are you doing? Go after her.
a rom-com.
Because like this is very cool for them. I'm like very fortunate. They're very supportive and stuff. And stand-up is kind of like rock star-y. And they were very cool. Like, yeah, please leave 30 minutes early. Do the show. Tell us how it is. Yeah, I'm so envious. Like, have fun.
Right.
And then you pick me up in your fucking muscle car. Like, it keeps getting
70
better and
Chevelle.
better and better. It gets more absurd. Like,
I told you I was going to pick you up in the coolest car you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah. You'll hear it coming. And literally, you show up, I hear,
Yeah.
it smells like a boat.
That thing's America.
Yeah. And then Chappelle, you showed him the car, I remember, after the show. And he's just like floored with this. He's like, what? Oh, let me check this thing out, blah, blah. And he was loving the car. And then we drove to the after party.
Yeah.
This was just such a surreal night for me because we do the show. It's amazing. It's an alternate universe where comedy is happening and it's not happening in LA, The show's amazing. It's fun. And then I'm just laying in the cut. I don't want to overextend. I'm just so grateful to be asked to do the show, and you already drove me. So all the comics and Dave's friends and stuff are piled in the car. Dave is in the passenger seat. And then you're like, hey, Fahim, get in. Like, I wasn't even going to ask. I was going to Uber. I was just going to be forgotten,
Right.
But you're like, Fahim, get in. So Dave Chappelle has to, like, do the human thing of like, pushing his seat up. So I'm like, oh, excuse me, Mr. Chappelle, can I? So I'm having to squish Chappelle to get into the back of this car. And then you're ripping. You're ripping in this thing. And I just thought, like, man, if I died in this car, I would not make the article. It would say Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle, and like 2 other guys died. You know what I mean?
They'd probably mention your name, dude.
I
People
don't
would
know.
say-
I don't know. But at that moment, no,
Yeah.
I would be a guy. But that was such a fun experience. Just
was fun.
Like, what a wild night.
Yeah, it was very fun. Those shows at Stubbs were like medicine, Like, I didn't really realize how much we needed to have a good time. And
The
get
crowds,
together.
too, they were
Yeah.
so appreciative. That's one of the things I noticed when I was doing stand-up out here is the thirst. And, like, it was human nature for as much as we needed it, the audience needed it, too.
Yeah.
To have that kind of release.
Yeah.
And something to go to rather than just being in your house all
Yeah.
day.
Yeah. Yeah, people felt trapped. And it didn't make sense when a bunch of them, one of the things we did at the shows at the Vulcan, we'd be like, how many guys had COVID? And like more than half the crowd would raise their hands,
Mm-hmm. You go, who wants to get it tonight? You get people on
Probably most
stage,
of the people
open your
already-
mouth. Like you've been baptized.
Yeah. It was weird.
The
It was
power of
weird. It's
COVID
like people
compels
were-
you.
People started treating it like a regular cold. They
Well,
weren't-
I feel like that's what it is now, kind
Well, it definitely
of.
is now. Unless you're insane. You're one of those people that talks outside with a fucking mask on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's still some people that are insane. They're just insane. But it's also a leftist flag. I say it's like the Democrats' MAGA hat. If you
Yeah,
wear that
yeah.
mask,
Well,
Unless you're an old person and you're really scared and you have a bad immune system, I get it.
when I see it at the grocery store, it's like seeing someone in a throwback jersey. You know what I mean? Like, okay. It's like a cool old Mariners
There's
jersey.
a lot of people that still believe in it. They still believe that you could breathe through something and it protects you from a terrible disease. Could you imagine, like, thinking that the plague is in this neighborhood, like some fucking 28 days later disease is in this neighborhood? You can just put a little paper mask over your face. You're good. You
Yeah.
feel comfortable? How about what's going in your eyes, stupid? Because that's one of the major ways that people get infected. It's through eye contact, through hand to eye.
Right.
Like your eyes, like when people sneeze, you get it in your eyes.
You ever see?
You tell me you're breathing air.
Yeah.
How's it getting into your face?
You'll see like rapid COVID testing places on corners, and I almost look at those as like a psychic spot. You know what I mean? It kind of has the same feel. Like who's
super
going
inaccurate
into
now.
these? Oh yeah.
Super inaccurate. I know a bunch of people who tested negative turned out to be positive. It's tricky, man. That fucking disease keeps mutating. It's a bunch of 100 different fucking strains now. Who knows how many different variants are there now?
Yeah.
How many?
It's like Loki.
5, 6. How many variants are there? 7. How many COVID variants have been identified? Let's find that out. Let's take a guess.
This is the COVID
How many
multiverse.
guess? I say there's 14. I say 14.
I'll say 15. I'm gonna Price is Right you.
Let's go.
15.
I hope it's 14.
Come on.
What's the low number you think it is?
8.
I think 7. I'm gonna Price is Right you, bitch.
Fuck. I got to walk behind the set of Price is Right while it was taping.
Really?
It was kind of not. Yeah, because like my girlfriend at the
Was
time.
Drew Carey doing it?
Yeah.
Oh, that Drew Carey.
Well, he's a great dude. Like
He's great.
during the strike, he was paying everyone. Like there's that diner Swingers. He was paying everybody's bill, so if you could get a free meal.
Oh wow.
As a nice guy, just as part of the writer's strike, like if you were in the WGA or whatever, all your meals were covered.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Good for him. That's beautiful. Everybody says
Such
he's
a
great
stand-up guy. He came by that Hollywood Improv one time. That was kind of cool because he's not a guy who like pops in a ton.
Yeah, I met him at the Improv one night, and he was giving really good advice to some young comic.
What was the advice?
Who was saying just if you could write 1 minute joke every day, just write one joke every day. Over time,
Yeah.
you'd be surprised at how much material you can write.
That's how I feel about writing. Totally, you just kind of build it in pieces, and then if you are regimented about it, when you look back at your notes, it's you've done all the work.
I always feel like it's like mining. You know, that like sometimes I just hit rocks. I'm just hitting rocks. But every now and then, if I keep mining, I find something cool. Variants of concern.
So there's classifications.
Right.
I guess we could play this game. How many variants of concern currently?
Yeah,
do
let's
you
be
think there
concerned.
are?
Come on.
Let's start with that. How many variants of concern are there?
There's 3,
3
Oh,
variants
man,
of
we were-
concern.
We were way
but
off.
there are Omicron variants.
Okay.
There's a under monitoring, which has got 2, so we're at 5.
So it's 5 under and
then
now de-escalated.
There's over 50 of that.
Whoa.
Just this list goes on and on.
De-escalated.
Over 50. Holy shit, dude.
I don't know how they classify them.
Bro,
specifically.
that's
I have to look into
crazy.
this.
There's 50 variants.
No longer circulating.
Like just not hip anymore.
Yeah, it's just there's different.
Spike mutations of interest. Oh, God.
Yeah, I don't know. What all
How
this is.
scary is all that stuff? How scary is it they keep doing this gain of function research? They're like, let's just keep.
Oh,
I
is
think
that how COVID started? The gain of function.
That's the primary theory.
What is gain of function?
Gain of function is when you take a virus and you engineer it to make it so that it works on humans. So they'll take a virus that works on bats and they'll engineer it so that human beings can catch it.
Like, let us
What a
get
great
in on
idea.
that, yeah.
And they make it like super contagious. Also a great idea. For those unfamiliar with gain of function research, it essentially means juicing up naturally occurring animal viruses in a lab to make them more infectious amongst humans. This practice is nothing new. Scientists in the United States have long known how to mutate animal viruses to infect humans. Sure. Yeah. The practice is nothing new. It doesn't mean it's not a fucking terrible idea. Like, what good has come out of it? That's my question. Do you guys know how to stop these things from happening? Because it seems like you didn't stop that last one. So what benefit are we getting from the potential of you unleashing deadly super viruses to the world? And is this a thing where because you can do it, you do it because you can get funding because that's what you studied in school?
They just got bored. And they go,
I think it's
let's
like
try
what-
this bat thing.
Well, it's what their business is, right? What's your business? My business is studying viruses. Can I get research to study virus? Can I get funds? Well, if you agree with what we say and publicly, we'll give you funds and you can do research. And oh, it's not legal for us to fund that research. Why don't we fund this company and that company and fund the research? And we could say, I don't know what you're talking about. And then, you could change what you describe as gain of function. And you could say, I am the expert, I am science. And that's what we went through. We went through that for 3 fucking years.
It's all about funding, man.
And at the end of the day, it's pretty clear that shit came from a lab. It's pretty clear to all the people that are making any fucking sense that aren't gaslighting the fuck out of you.
Yeah, I always thought about, like, what if you're the guy who loved bat wing soup and it was getting a bad rap unnecessarily?
Right.
Like, guys, it's not the bat wing soup. And now he's vindicated. Like, yes,
I told
it's
you,
the lab.
fuckers, it's
I can
the lab.
continue eating this soup.
I can keep eating pangolin stew.
Yeah, you gave my stew a bad name.
Yeah. Remember they were trying to pin it on the pangolin? That was hilarious.
Oh, that South Park episode was
Weird
amazing.
animal.
Oh, freakiest. The freakiest little animal. Like a little dinosaur,
Kind of a
man.
cute guy, though.
Again, just like that fucking turtle. If that thing was gigantic, storming through a village, imagine. I mean, imagine a monster, like it's eating ants here, but imagine just eating humans. Imagine just plowing through some fucking thatch huts,
That tongue just slicing you in half.
just ripping people's legs apart in front of their families, just chewing them, choking them down.
Have you eaten bugs?
Giant pangolin. Yeah, I've eaten a bunch of bugs. I hosted Fear Factor, son.
Oh, so is that part of it? You had to eat it
No,
as being host?
I did it because, I did it to get people to do it. Like, if they were like, I can't do it, I'm like, you can. Look, I'll do it. I'll do it easy. I just
Like with
grabbed
toddlers?
I grabbed
Look,
a roach and I just chucked it in my
yummy.
throat. I did it to a couple different things. I ate a few different things.
What's your take on the bugs? Were some of them pretty good, or are they all
Roaches
gross?
are surprisingly
That's
tasteless.
so gross. Ew.
Yeah, and it was a big one, a Madagascar hissing cockroach.
Alive or dead?
Alive. I just grabbed him and
Fuck,
ate him.
dude.
But they're surprisingly tasteless. You get over the fact that you're eating a bug and the squish in your mouth, but it doesn't taste like much. And the thing about bugs is people have been eating bugs forever. Animals have been eating bugs forever. I mean, bugs, this is me. Look at so cutie back then. Just watch, I'm going to choke this thing down.
Bro. Oh, the crunching.
Yeah, it was very crunchy.
Oh. Jesus.
I was laughing at the same time, too.
Were the crew people
Laughing
like,
and
you don't have
choking.
to do this?
No, I was doing it to try to get this girl to do it.
Did she do it?
She wound up eating worms instead, which I thought was worse. We made a deal with her. 2 worms. 2 worms or a roach.
What was the thought when you did Fear Factor? I heard it was you didn't love acting as much. Is that what it was?
Well, the process of sitcoms is great when it's up and running, but it's brutal to begin. Like the early days of news radio.
I
were
love
like-
that show, by the way.
Thank you. It was a great show.
I loved watching it.
That was like 16-hour days. Like you work crazy long days, and the writers are busting their ass, and the actors are. Everyone's tired. The crew's tired. It's hard to put together those fucking shows.
I thought sitcom was a better schedule. Like I heard these 16-hour days are with single cams and stuff.
Once they get going. The thing is, you have to figure out a way to make it a well-oiled machine, and that takes a long time. The actors have to be in line. They have to figure out whose strengths are. The writers have to be in line. They have to get support from the network. It's a grind, man.
Did you guys eventually get
We
to a
eventually
streamlined?
got to the point where we didn't even have to work 5 days a week. We only worked 4 days a week. And one of the days was just a table read. So we'd come in, there would be a table read, then there'd be some revisions. The writers would get together and they'd come up with new scripts. And the writers were crazy. They would write like really late at night. Like that was their thing, to get silly, to like be exhausted.
yeah, just delirious.
Yeah, they just get completely delirious and write the most ridiculous shit. It was really fun. They would come stumbling in, like barely awake, at like 9 in the morning when we're all there. They had just finished, and some of them, sometimes they didn't finish. Sometimes they had like one half of the script and they were still tightening up the second half. So they'd give you the first half of the script, you'd work on it until lunch. Everybody would eat lunch, and then they would come back with the second half of the script and you'd work the rest of it out. And in the beginning, it was exciting and it was fun and everything, but I was like, this is not my jam. This is really fun to do.
You were great
It's fun
in
to
it.
do. Thanks.
Yeah.
It's fun. Acting's fun with fun people. But eventually I was like, I just like doing stand up and I like doing other things. And then this show, Fear Factor, was like, I was like, this is going to get canceled immediately. Like, you're sicking dogs on people on television and making them eat animal dicks. Like, I'm in. Let's go. You're going to make them ride bulls? Okay. I'm like, okay.
So
Yeah,
they
I'll
came
do
to you
it.
first. You were first option. They go, do you want to host this show?
Well, they didn't know who was going to host it. They met with a bunch of people.
And it was NBC, right?
Yeah, it was NBC. So
Okay.
I had just been on NBC for news radio, and so I had a relationship with them. And so then when this came up, it was just like they said, you know, there was two thoughts. One, have someone host it that was like a sports guy. You know, like fear is not a factor for them.
Yeah.
Like down the middle, or someone who's like laughing while this crazy shit was going on. So they chose me. So that's.
I think it worked
that's how I did
better.
It worked out.
Yeah.
Well, you had to make fun of some of it because it was so crazy that you were doing this, and some of the things I was like, "Don't do it." I would tell people, "Don't do it." Like the bull riding, I'm like, "Don't do it."
They're not paying you enough for this.
No one's paying you enough to ride a fucking bull. You get kicked in the head by a bull, your
Yeah.
life has changed forever. I'm like, I'm not gonna do whatever
Do
you
what
want
you
to
want,
do.
but you don't have health insurance.
I
It
wouldn't
doesn't
do
look
it.
smart.
I told them all, I'm like, I wouldn't do it. They were trying to tell me that it was stunt bulls. I go, that bull does not know it's a stunt bull. That bull thinks it's a fucking bull. It doesn't even know what a stunt bull is. That's a giant fucking angry animal that doesn't want you on its back. And you're getting like untrained people, and you're putting a helmet on them
Yeah.
and a chest plate
Some
and
data
hoping,
entry guy hopping on a bull.
hoping their arm doesn't get shattered into a fucking million pieces if they're lucky.
That's
They
just
don't
good
get
TV, Joe.
Kicked in the face.
Yeah.
Terrifying.
Sometimes I see
Yeah.
shows like Wipeout. Even I'm like, why would I risk this?
Yeah.
You get to get hit with a
Same
giant.
producers.
Really?
Yeah.
They just love people getting fucked up.
Yeah. Well, it's like, hey, this is the game we play.
I guess. And then also you.
We saw that guy jumping over the bulls. That guy's
That's
out of his
true.
fucking mind too.
But he's willingly doing that, and he's in control. He's not being thrust into it. You
Right.
know? This is his life.
But in their defense, there are people that go on Fear Factor or that went on Fear Factor that were like serious fucking athletes, and they excelled at a lot of these things. And you're like, oh, well, if you're like a real athlete, you could do some of this shit, and you could do it better than everybody else. Just like you could play football better than everybody else, or
Right.
wrestle better than everybody else.
So it wasn't all eating shit.
No,
there
no,
was
no, no.
physical
It's a lot
stuff,
of physical
yeah.
stunts. Like we had a celebrity one, and the Miz, WWE, the Miz, he was on it, and he won.
Oh.
That fucking dude's an athlete, like a real athlete. Like he held his breath underwater while he was swimming for like 2 fucking minutes or 3 minutes. It was something crazy. He was doing some stunt. They had to dive into water and do a bunch of shit and come out. I forget what it was, but I was like, that guy's a stud. Because like that is hard. Like me as a person who's like, I've tried to hold my breath for long periods of time underwater. I've swam.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's fucking hard to do. That water's cold as shit, which really freaks you out when you get in there. Everything like tightens up. If you're not accustomed to jumping into cold water, it's very difficult to stay relaxed. And this dude's swimming around in there for like 3 minutes. I'm like, that's an animal.
Yeah.
So there's like, yeah, you shouldn't ride a bull. But some of those fucking things that people do, it's like if you're a real athlete, you can excel at a lot of these things.
What was the grand prize for these things?
Depend on the show. I mean, in some shows we gave away $1 million, but that was only a couple of them. Most of the time they got like, I think it was 50 grand. But then after taxes, it's only like 34. The government's like, I ate those dicks. We ate those dicks.
Yeah.
The government's like, where's my money?
Where's my cut?
The government didn't eat any dicks, and they get 16 grand.
Yeah, Uncle Sam didn't eat dicks.
Yeah, they ate 0 dick, and they
Yeah,
get 16.
and I gotta give my dick money
you
to
ate
this guy?
all the dick, you get 34. Yeah. Fortunately, you know, praise the baby Jesus, nobody got hurt.
Oh, that's good.
Nobody got really hurt. I mean,
Sure.
people get like sprained
Well,
ankles. and
I'm sure it was an ironclad contract that these people signed.
I'm sure it was nuts. But I legitimately thought it was going to be canceled immediately.
And it lasted how long?
6 fucking years, 148 episodes. And then we came back and did it 6 more. And then it got canceled the second time because people had to drink jizz. Because it got released. It got released on TMZ. They got a hold of the video and the photo. Somebody leaked it.
What kind of jizz?
Donkey jizz, which is just useless jizz.
How so?
Was it mule jizz or donkey jizz? I think it was.
They had
I
a
think we called
choice?
it donkey jizz. I think it's.
Would you
mule
like the
jizz.
mule jizz?
It's sterile jizz. You can't like mules. They can't impregnate anyone.
Yeah.
I don't think they called it donkey jizz though. I think it might have been actually mule jizz. because that was the cheapest stuff. That's the budget. You know, there's a budget when you're working on a show.
Yeah, we
Fahim.
can't get the thoroughbred jizz.
Yeah, thoroughbred jizz is super expensive.
It is. It's like
That's
gold. What is that?
it's
Millions
like-
of dollars?
Yeah, right under that guy, that yoga guy. Like with his
Who's
juice,
who's
worth, Bikram.
Oh, Bikram
You
Yoga?
ever see that interview with
documentary?
him when he's like, "People will pay $1 million for one drop of my sperm." That's what he
It
said.
sounds like a Lance bit.
It does. It does. So this is.
donkey juice. So
They called it donkey juice, but I think that's just because donkey's a funnier name than mule juice.
That's a good point.
And so so they had to do it, and there was twins. So one had to drink urine, and one had to drink jizz. And depending upon your score, depending upon how many ounces you had to drink. Rough stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And that's another show where I said, don't do it. And they're like, NBC signed off on it. I don't give a fuck. I'm like, this is, first of all,
This is outrageous, and I've seen a lot of stuff.
high as a kite. Okay, I never did that show sober. From episode like 4 on, I would take pot edibles before every show. I was like, let's go. It made it fun.
I'm sure it enhanced the
Oh
viewing
my
experience.
God, it made it so much more fun. But that was one day where I was like, you guys are freaking me out. Like, don't do this. This is a terrible idea.
Did you know that this could be the end, like doing this stunt?
100%. You're making people drink jizz.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe that I was the one.
The voice of reason?
Yeah, I was the one who was stepping in and going, hey guys,
The guy on the edible?
you can't make people drink jizz on television while people are eating dinner.
and the writers are like, we think it's good. We workshopped
Can you
it.
imagine trying to explain that to little kids all over the world?
What's jizz?
I think in other countries they did play it. That's why it's still available on YouTube. Where I could still find that banned episode. I think in some countries, I think they played it in Holland. They played it in some European countries.
Well,
or
they're
something
way
like
more
that.
chill with
Yeah.
mule jizz out there.
They're like, hey, you know.
Yeah, it's like nudity in France.
That's
Like
the
they're very
game.
cool with mule jizz.
Well, Fear Factor actually started out in Holland.
What was it called?
I think it was called Now or Neverland. Pretty sure it was Holland. And then they bought it and then changed it to Fear Factor and brought it to America.
I guess every game show is just a remix of something overseas. You know, we do that a lot.
But what it was for me, dude, it was like my escape package.
Your parachute.
Yeah, like my fuck you package.
Did you
Because then
know?
I could just do whatever I wanted. And that's when the podcast came after I was done with that.
Yeah, you have a great sixth sense for just like not even stumbling, but just like knowing what the next thing is. You know, like Fear Factor gave you a nice parachute away from sitcom and all that stuff you didn't like, and then podcasting was a nice runway to get into that. And then
Yeah.
you were so early to UFC too. You know.
But the UFC thing was that was the craziest because I was into the UFC when it was in 1997.
I remember when you had to go through a beaded curtain to watch UFC.
Yeah, you have to go
I
to
had
the
in
video
Hollywood
store.
Video. I had to go through a beaded curtain.
Yeah, you have to go to the dirty section.
Yeah, I remember yeah, you had to like walk by porno and shit to get to UFC tapes. I was at my friend Leo Mariyama, I believe is his last name. This Japanese kid, he had a UFC tape for his birthday party, and he popped that in. And this was like wild. This
like
was
Faces of
early.
Death.
Yeah.
You couldn't believe it was real.
Yeah.
These guys are beating the shit out of each other. This is crazy.
So you couldn't just get it. It was hard to get.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see where it's
I
gone.
started working for them in 97, UFC 12 in Dothan, Alabama. And it was just crazy. It was like a half-filled like high school auditorium looking place.
What do you think the biggest jump was? in
TV.
Yeah.
Getting on Spike TV. It's one of those things where people just needed to see it. They needed to see it to know how exciting it is. You know, there's certain things that people just don't know yet. And then they got it on Spike TV. It was all Dana White and the Fertitta brothers. If they didn't, they were like $40 million in debt before it really hit.
What was their
They just
venture?
kept
Did
losing
they have
money.
a venture before UFC? Like what
Well,
were
they
they
owned
doing?
casinos. So they were wealthy, but they were fucking hemorrhaging money. I mean, hemorrhaging money doing that program. And I was like, God damn, just the world needs to see. If the world could see, it's so entertaining. It transcends all cultural boundaries. What fighting is something that's in human beings' DNA. And when you see a really great fight between two highly skilled, at the peak of condition, just warriors, the best in the world. And when you see them going to war inside of a cage with these little gloves on and shorts and no shoes on, just fucking teeing off on each other, it is wild to see. There's nothing like it in all of sports. Nothing like it, man. A real high-level championship fight, there's nothing like it, man. And I knew people just had to see it. And if they could see it, they could see what I see. Because this is universal. It's not like a game like cricket. You could be awesome at cricket. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I know you're trying to hit that thing with the paddle. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know the rules. I'm not interested.
But
you know?
fighting, anyone can wrap their head
Anyone knows
around.
what's going on. You know, everyone knows what's going on. You wheel kick somebody in the head. Everybody saw that. That's crazy. What the fuck just happened? You get that guy in an armbar and break his arm. Like, what? He just broke his arm. This is crazy. This is nuts. What is this? It's just universal. I knew it'd be universal.
Yeah, fighting is pretty universal. Like, I'll watch these wrestling documentaries. They're so good. Like, every wrestling documentary is amazing. And I think that's part of the appeal of wrestling they talk about, because it's a play. It's so simple, fighting, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone knows this.
Yeah.
And there's so many elements you can have on top of, like, going heel, and it's dramatic. It's inherently dramatic.
Yeah.
It's almost the simplest form of entertainment, fighting.
Right. Well, in a lot of ways, yeah. It's such a dangerous game, man. Such a dangerous game. You know, and it's hard for guys to know when to stop playing it. You know, it's hard for guys to know when to get out. And you see all the great ones, man. All the great ones fall. And it's just part of the game.
Has anyone got out at the right time?
George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
He did it the most intelligently, better than anybody. He went out as a champion. He retired after defending his belt. And then he came back and he fought Michael Bisping for the middleweight title and beat him, and then retired again. Said that's it. And he's got all of his faculties. You talk to him, he's great. He's super happy. Still very healthy and fit. Still constantly trains martial arts. Comes to Austin all the time to train with Gordon Ryan and John Donaher. So he's here all the time. And he's just a martial artist. I mean, and a great spokesperson. And a great example of what is possible. Like that you can be one of the greatest of all time, without a doubt. George St. Pierre will go down in history as one of the greatest mixed martial artists of all time, for sure. He's definitely in the conversation of the GOAT. You know, there's a few people that are in that conversation, but he's definitely in there. But that guy's totally fine today. He figured it out.
Yeah.
He's very smart.
One of the rare people who just
One of the rarest of rare.
checked out.
Yeah, he's smart. He got out at the right time, and he's got all his faculties, and he's doing great. And that's a beautiful example. But for every one of George St. Pierre, there's guys that leave, and you can tell they're slow. You can tell they're compromised. You can tell they've been in some wars, and that sucks too. That sucks to see.
Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks to see old guys that are just broken down, man. And a lot of them physically broken down, like they can't move well anymore.
I can imagine. Jeez,
Their
just
backs
better
are all
living.
fucked up. Bunch of back surgeries, knee surgeries. You know, it's just such a brutal, brutal way to make a living. But yeah, when I started getting into that, man, it was like doing porn. Like people are like, what are you doing? The fuck are you doing? Why are you getting involved in this? You have a sitcom career.
Yeah.
I was on news radio.
You're like,
while I
you'll
was doing
see
it.
in
Yeah.
a few years. You'll see.
I don't think anybody believed it. Nobody believed it. But I was like, look, I can't help you.
Well, it's a
But
great
I just
lesson.
can only like what I like.
It's a great lesson in just following what your passion is, and then the rest kind of like falls into place.
If you're lucky,
If you're lucky,
or you
I
could
guess.
just wind up a car thief. You know, like things could go
But
bad.
you really love it. You really love stealing cars, though.
Yeah, some people do. Remember that movie with Charlie Sheen and some other dude? I forgot the other dude. They would just steal Porsches.
What
That
was
dude,
that
D.B. Sweeney, is that who it is? Who's the other dude who was in it? A fun movie.
What was it around the era of Gone in 60 Seconds or?
Oh,
earlier?
before that, man. It's an old-ass movie. It was this dude would just steal Porsches. It was like 1980s Porsches, which were really cool little cars, man. It's such a different thing than a Porsche of today. Those little, like, minimized little sporty cars, and he would steal these sporty cars. And the whole movie, it's just like a love affair.
Yeah, I love this poster.
Yeah, it's gret. Who's the other dude?
Is that Iceman?
Is it D.B.
Or-
Sweeney? Yeah, it is No Man's Land. It's just a Porsche infomercial. The whole movie's about if you get this movie and watch it, you don't want to buy an old Porsche. There's something wrong with you. Son. Go to a doctor.
Remember
Look how handsome they were.
Italian Job, where it was just like a mini commercial?
See, look at this. Got a what
Oh,
year is that?
what cassette is that?
tape,
Crank
son!
it.
They got
The toothpick? Come on.
Bro, those cars are the shit.
I want a Porsche and a toothpick right now.
Those cars are very difficult to handle. They'll see they saw a car, like, let's get it. And they hop out. And Charlie Sheen was a cop. He was undercover. Right? Isn't that the plot? Pretty sure.
I've heard this movie before.
And Charlie
typed
Sheen's
in-
gonna. This guy's got a cabriolet.
A
car
cell
phone?
phone.
Carve?
Oh, I think that's an alarm.
Oh.
I think it's one of them alarm jobs.
Yeah.
See, because it's flashing. He's like, oh, there's an alarm on this car.
This one's going to be harder.
Yeah. So you had to look around. Do you know what you're doing, man? Yeah, bro. I'm gonna steal his Porsche.
Oh, shit. Is he going to use... Okay.
By the way, if you have a convertible, can you just cut the top? Oh, here comes the knife.
So this is how you do it.
Is he gonna cut the top? He is gonna cut the top. This sly bastard. Look how slick he is.
Ooh, nice watch.
He's looking for the spot.
This is very sensual.
Yes, very. This is why you shouldn't have a convertible. This is ridiculous.
Charlie Sheen will steal it.
Get a cloth house. So Charlie Sheen's gonna cut that.
Right.
What's he gonna do? Pop it?
Okay. It's
Pop.
that simple, huh?
Yeah, he's gonna pop the convertible. Uh-oh.
are you doing? That's my Porsche. Oh, shit.
Oh! Guy just shoots at him.
All right, now we're
Oh, now we're getting
fully
into...
involved in
Yeah,
this car
fuck.
chase.
Yeah, so here we go. They're just shooting at him. Jesus.
Really bailed on that red one.
Yeah, and they're chasing him
Ooh.
in a Trans Am.
A lot of great cars in this movie.
Spoilers.
Dun, dun, dun. It's a dumbass movie.
But every guy loved it, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, the Porsches are awesome. It's
Yeah.
awesome to watch them speed away in these little Porsches.
When I typed in Charlie Sheen car movie,
How many has he got?
Another one came up I've never heard of. A sci-fi movie called The Wraith.
What?
Oh, jeez.
What is that? It's like Knight Rider?
I don't know.
What is this movie? 1986?
Phantom, a wraith.
Man, I love old
Cosmic
trailers.
spirit given another chance.
Are you new in town?
Yeah. Who's the kid?
I hurt my back, and the next second he was there. Like magic almost.
Oh, he's mad.
Look at that, Sweet. What is that?
It's a Cybertruck, dude. Oh.
What is this?
Oh my God.
Kid out there using his car to kill people.
Ah, he's in it?
Randy Quaid?
He's kind of going off the rails, right?
Is he? Yeah.
Yeah.
He went a little off the rails.
Yep.
Boy, this movie looks dumb as shit.
Yep. Never heard of it. It was the year before.
You know, he was in a one good movie that people sleep on. It was a science fiction movie.
Who? Randy Quaid?
No, no, Charlie Sheen. The Arrival? No.
Oh, I love that
Is that it?
movie.
Well,
Is that it was called? Isn't The Arrival the
well,
one?
there's two of them, I
There's
think.
The Arrival.
Yeah.
I love
There's
the
the
one where they-
Dennis.
you're right.
There's the new one where the spaceship looks like a coffee
it is
bean.
The Arrival, yeah.
Is it? Oh, because they both have the same name.
I love this
Okay.
movie. Yeah.
So,
Just
but this is
Arrival.
the Charlie Sheen one. This is really good. This
it-
one is like underrated.
I agree.
Very underrated sci-fi movie.
The aliens are weird. Like
They're
the
weird.
leg thing.
Yeah.
Such a great reveal.
It's cool. It's a cool movie. It's like it doesn't get the credit it deserves. It's actually a cool movie. But then there's the other Arrival, which is really
I like
cool.
that one too.
That one's amazing.
Yeah.
Because that one to me feels more like what it probably
Yeah,
would
like
be
how
like.
do we communicate with these
Right,
beings?
right.
That guy who did Sicario, and
That
he
one's
did.
so
he
original,
did. He's
too.
doing Dune too. He did the first one.
Ooh, that's just Arrival, and the other one is The Arrival.
Correct.
Arrival's a fucking great movie.
Yeah.
That's a great movie. Yeah. What's the best alien movie of all time? It has to be Alien.
I mean, it's right there.
That has to be number one. That's the
What-
best.
What's
alien
in
movie.
contention? You think
Nothing.
Alien, and that's it.
It's Alien, and then there's everybody else playing for second best.
What about Independence Day? That's kind of like.
It's
I
hilarious.
mean, that's not like
Close
Alien
Encounters is
Center.
pretty goddamn
Yeah.
good too. Close Encounters is pretty fucking amazing. That might be the best UFO alien movie, but the best like in space alien movie is Alien.
I'm trying to be serious because Men in Black is a good movie.
That's
but
a good
like,
point. That's a
it's
comedy.
Not, it's not even serious.
It's fun.
Anyway.
It's a
You
fun
and- you and
movie.
me creep
It's a
out.
fun movie. But as far as movies, you'd say you have to see this movie, like the original Alien, Ridley Scott. That movie is fucking incredible. That movie's so good. And that was a movie where Sigourney Weaver was the lead badass
Oh,
woman,
yeah.
which was a rare thing.
Was that the first of that archetype? That
I
kind
believe
of,
so. I believe so. If
Like,
I
there'd
if I had to
be
think like
no-
of successful mainstream movie superheroine, who?
Invasion of the Body Snatchers is up there.
Can I pee real quick? Where is it?
Yeah.
Where's
We'll,
that?
we'll pee. We'll be right back.
Everybody, you know.
And we're back.
And we're
And
back.
what were we just talking about?
Sigourney Weaver in Alien.
movies.
So, she had to be the first super heroine.
Yeah.
The first lead action movie badass woman. Who was
Yeah.
before her?
I don't know who would be before her.
Jackie Brown?
No, that was after.
That was after.
Right, yeah.
That was way after.
Great.
What was Jackie Brown? Oh, that's Karen Tarantino. I'm out of my
Tarantino.
mind. Because Alien was 79. God, I missed that one.
But yeah, there'd be no Michelle Rodriguez without Sigourney Weaver. The
Right.
tank top, hot.
Well, she was in
heroine.
Aliens 2. She was in Aliens 2 with Sigourney Weaver.
How many aliens are there?
4, 5 or 6. Well, there's a bunch now. Because the Alien, the Covenant, that's a really good one.
Hmm.
Was the last one? There was Prometheus and then the Covenant. Covenant was the last one, right? Is that correct?
You see the new Predator?
Yes.
Is it good?
Were you talking about the one with the Native American lady?
It's on. I think it was on Hulu. Or
Prey.
something.
That's
yeah.
dope.
Okay.
That's fun.
Check it out.
That's fun. It's ridiculous,
All
but
right.
it's fun. It's good.
Is it as good as the Charlie Sheen Porsche heist movie?
Almost.
Almost. Okay.
It's
If it's
basically-
close. If it's close, I'm game.
It's fun. It's a fun movie. So a female John Wick with aliens.
I'm sold. I'm sold.
They even went, like, when they gave up, they went Predator versus Alien. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
What the fuck are you doing?
I feel like there was a Taco Bell tie-in. I'm sure. Yeah. Why not?
Actually,
Why wouldn't it be?
Get a
you
plastic
said Jackie
cup.
Brown. You weren't really wrong because Pam Grier's Jackie Brown, right?
Oh, there was
Yes.
one
So
before.
So she was playing. She was in movies in the 70s. That's
Right.
why she was Jackie Brown, I think.
Right. What movies was she in the 70s, though?
Foxy Brown.
Foxy Brown. The thing about it is, though, I don't think they were big action movies.
Well,
Like,
what's
when you
the
got a
difference?
budget, like a Sigourney Weaver is the lead of a Ridley Scott film. And it's a giant budget. It's a crazy movie. That was
Yeah.
a huge hit. That movie was a huge hit.
He did Gladiator too.
Yes.
They're doing Gladiator
Ridley
2.
Scott has done. He did one of the
11 million.
aliens.
The
What's
first one
that?
was only 11 million budget.
That's it.
Yeah.
Damn. So it was, but it had big actors, right? Like that one dude, Tom Skerritt, whatever the fuck his name is. What's his name?
In retrospect, maybe I don't.
That guy
know
was big
about-
at the time.
I was.
Oh, yeah.
This is 5 years before I was.
What's
even
his
born.
name?
It's
Tom what?
Skerritt.
Skerritt. Tom Skerritt. Yeah, he played the captain. It's a crazy ass fucking movie, man. That's a good movie. Because that's probably what it's going to be like. It's
Yeah.
probably going to be like Parasites. Just like Parasites on Earth. I mean, there's a lot of different instances in the wild of creatures doing that. Like there's that wasp that injects tarantulas with its babies. It kills spiders and injects them with its babies, and the babies like feed off the carcass of the spider.
That's crazy.
They're so evil.
Isn't there one where there's like this parasite that grows out of an ant's head?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's cordyceps mushrooms. That's what's that movie, The Last of Us.
Oh,
is based
dude,
on?
that's so
That show,
good. I
rather?
love that show.
Show's great. It show's great.
Someone, maybe it was a Reddit thread. They were saying because they tried to port over video game movies for so long and they could never get it right.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the person in this thread was saying, like the kids are finally old enough and becoming directors where they can do the source material justice.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before it's just these people who are trying to make a Mortal Kombat film, but they didn't grow up with. They don't have a love letter to it, you know?
Yes.
And now we're getting to see great video game IP flourish. Like The Last of Us is phenomenal.
Yeah. But it also has to be something like HBO, where someone's willing to let someone, get really wild.
Yeah.
Like that would be hard. That was HBO, right?
Yeah.
It'd be hard to do anywhere else. Like HBO, Game of Thrones, Sopranos.
Right.
They'll go out there with a show.
Yeah, when I was coming up, I mean, it's just the video game movies that existed. There was Street Fighter with Van Damme. There was Mortal Kombat. So as a kid, you loved watching these movies, but they weren't good.
Dragon's Lair. Wasn't there a Dragon's Lair movie?
I don't know if there is that a game.
Remember
Dragon's
that
Lair?
game?
I don't know. Remember
Dragon's Lair was a game that
Oh, yeah,
everybody used
Mario
to play.
Brothers.
Mario Brothers. Dragon's Lair was a game that everybody used to play in like the 1980s, and it was like a cartoon of each thing that you did. You get to see whether or not you were successful. So you would do this little move, and if you slipped and fell, or if the knight got you or a dragon got you, you would die. But you get to see how you would die. So instead of it being like an interactive cartoon, it was like semi-interactive. Like you've made the right choices, it would do the right thing, and the character would do the right thing, and then you would be hitting your joystick, getting it to go through these doors, and then every time you did it, like this little video would play out. It was very addictive, and it was the first time there was ever anything like this, where there was like a game that you could watch like a cartoon movie, and depending upon whether you did the right thing or the wrong thing, you would see this happen or see you get killed.
What
So
was
that's
that?
1983. Full playthrough. So this is all the things that you would have to do to be successful. And every time you would do it, this little video would play
Is it
out.
kind of Prince of Persia-y?
Well, it's like, you know, dragons and knights and shit. It was fun. But, you know, compare that to World of Warcraft, or compare that to, you know, what's the big one? That Diablo, the new Diablo,
Yeah.
or compare that to
Call of Duty.
Call
That's
of Duty.
the big one.
That's just crack. That's just straight heroin.
Did you ever see this game? This was an arcade game that was like Dragon's Lair. This was the only thing that was really cool about this was holograms. So this was like floating above your controllers.
Whoa.
You controlled it a lot like Dragon's Lair. That's how it worked. It was like these weird little videos that would play for like an Old West character, but it was all holograms. Like this doesn't do it any justice to how cool it was.
Oh, so in real life, when you're watching it on the video screen, it's a hologram.
Yeah, it was very strange.
Whoa.
It's like in the 90s in arcades. That's how I remembered it. 'Cause that's how I remember
That
learning
guy
about
just
Dragon's Lair.
busted that blank a little too close to that
Well.
dude's body for my liking.
Oh, they
you
used
didn't.
the-
You know they didn't edit that out. It's not like they had
No.
one guy and they spliced in the second guy.
How much do you
that
think
guy
he
was
got?
right in front?
He got paid.
$4.
I got paid by
1981.
Fortnite. They used my dancing in a emote.
Really?
And they paid me. They paid me like $5,000.
Nice. What'd you buy with it?
Just like more Fortnite stuff. No, I'm just kidding.
The-
Nah, I have no idea what I spent with it, but it was kind of cool because I post the dance videos sometimes, and I guess their programmers found one of my YouTube. Like it had no views. Mm-hmm. Maybe they're comedy fans. That's how they found out. But like they just hit me up and they go, "Hey, the game's going to use this excerpt of you dancing as like a skin or like an emote. We'll give you $5,000." And I was like, "Fuck yeah!"
Wow.
It's still one of my favorite credits in Hollywood because it's just so weird and bizarre.
That you're in Fortnite.
That I have a Fortnite dance.
Do you play Fortnite?
No, but I know it's really popular. So it's called the Vibin emote. So if you look at the Vibin emote, that's me dancing.
Oh shit! Let me see that.
Yeah. So they just took an excerpt from like me when I was dancing in my apartment in Koreatown. Because sometimes if I like really like a song, I'll just set the camera up and dance
Look
to
at
it.
this.
Yeah, that's me.
There's so many little kids that probably know the shit out of this dance.
It looks very different than you, bro.
That's true.
They could have just done that. They didn't have to pay you.
No, you needed me to. You needed me as the
I think
source.
they could have just paid you.
No, I just want to put this out there. Fortnite, I have more dances. If you need more moves.
Yeah, I don't think they needed to pay you for
No,
that.
they
I think they could have just
Well,
snuck that in if they were like less scrupulous.
Probably. But I think they were under hot water because it was a moment in time where people were kind of upset that they were lifting some of the dances. Like, remember that
really?
backpack kid, the floss dance? Remember that
The little kid?
Yeah, remember he
Yeah.
was like his name is Backpack Kid, I guess, as a meme.
You talking about the kid on the boat? You
Nah, you know this is so dumb.
ever see the little kid on the boat?
Nah. But remember this dance?
Yeah.
Some kid in a backpack invented it.
Really?
And then Fortnite used the dance, and then there was some sort of, hey, people should be getting paid. The Carlton they put in there, and there was this gray area of like, should we pay these people?
So this kid is saying that was his move and they stole it?
Well, they probably patched it up and played
Oh,
nice and
he's-
everything, but he's the inventor of that dance.
Really invented it himself?
Yeah.
I mean,
There's
if he
no
didn't,
dispute?
I don't know if anybody else claimed it or tried to say that it was them.
What's that called? Flossing?
Yeah.
It's a strange move too, so I don't know how he wouldn't have.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like watching people do silly dances. Some dude did this Michael Jackson thing the other day. Like he high-fived this dude and then immediately started moonwalking. And it was really good.
Yeah.
It was like very impressive.
It's so interesting seeing social media get to a place where there are like viable careers in these spaces that didn't exist before, like Charlie D'Amelio or whatever. Like you could just be a cute girl dancing on TikTok, and you used to have to be able to sing, and they would send you to acting school if you were just like a pretty person. Like they
Right.
had to give you these other skill sets, and now you can just like dance to certain songs.
What do you think that's like psychologically? Because at least if you're a person who sings songs, like people really love my songs.
She probably sings now, but it was a springboard. Like she got famous for her dancing.
Does she sing?
Probably. I don't know.
Well, imagine someone who doesn't sing.
Right.
Just imagine being famous just for being alive.
That's available to you now.
That's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
That's a new thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's also interesting because like when I got into comedy and like fame was a byproduct, but I think with younger people sometimes they just want to be famous and they don't really care or know what for. I remember we were shooting a thing. We were shooting the Sonic commercial years ago, and the kids saw a camera. So many of them would say, "Make me famous." It wasn't, I want to do a thing that I love and then become famous. They just wanted to be fame. Fame is a byproduct, not. I don't know if it should be the goal.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the healthiest.
No, it's not a good. It's not a good goal.
Because you'll never sustain it.
You're never going to be happy either.
Yeah, yeah.
You should be happy if you're doing what you like to do. You know, the idea of just being happy just by fame, that's a trick. And that's going to come with a lot of problems of its own, and you don't want them. You're better off just concentrating on what you love to do and just try to get good at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Trying
also,
to just get famous. You're going to do some stuff that you wish you hadn't done. You're going to say some things you wish you hadn't said. You're going to try to get a lot of attention. It's going to come with a lot of extra baggage.
Yeah. And the fame isn't exactly the fun. There are some parts of it that are fun, but then it also impedes your life. Like,
well, it depends on if that's all you do, right? Like, there's people out there that are, air quotes, influencers. All they do is like, either, you're the Kardashians or you're whoever you are, you're doing something and you're making videos and that's your whole thing is you getting out there.
Uh-huh.
It's not like exceptional content. It's not like they're doing crazy backflips and, climbing mountains. They're not doing anything crazy.
Yeah.
They're just being alive.
Right.
Being alive with a lot of money. And a big ass.
And being beautiful.
That helps. That helps. But it's also being around famous people and, oh my God, it's the glamorous life. And then people are sucked in. And if you edit it correctly, where you do a nice fast, keep my attention span moving, you can suck me in for years.
Yeah, you forget editing is such a strong necessity nowadays, too.
It's huge.
Yeah. It's almost more important than a performer. I mean, it's hyperbole, but a great editor can really elevate some content.
Yes.
Like Schultz's guy's amazing. I mean, what Schultz's is fantastic to begin with. But editing, when you're trying to grab people's attention in 20, 30 seconds with all the zooms and all these psychological tricks too, like shaking it, having the text come in. Mm-hmm. So now even to promote as a younger comic, people coming up, you have to be aware of, you might have a great bit, but you have to have it be a little cuttier than it would be live.
Right.
You have to use a certain type of captions. You have to maybe zoom in. So you have to give yourself... I don't know, the benefit of the doubt or set yourself up for success via editing.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's so many different ways to do it now, too. It's like so many people found different avenues to make viral things. Like, remember during the pandemic when Schultz had to turn your phone sideways thing? Brilliant.
Yeah.
He had a totally different style of comedy than he does because he, on stage, he'll let things cook. He'll have long pauses, give you time to think about some ridiculous shit that he just said. And he's like,
yeah, that's the fun of the live show.
Right, but in these Instagram videos, sideways videos, he was very fast-paced. It was very fast-paced.
Yeah.
And it's punchline after punchline after punchline. He does the Netflix thing, Schultz Saves America, punchline, punchline, punchline.
Right.
It's very fast. It's really interesting because he adapted.
Yeah.
Found like some new pathway. That's a real sign of intelligence, right? If you could find like a new way to do it, and don't do Zoom stand-up, son.
I mean, of course, yeah, no shit.
But find a way. There's another pathway. There's got to be something else.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did. They found ways to do funny clips.
And you learn just by seeing what is being propagated, how people's behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Even when I edit my stand-up, I take the air out. If I get a laugh, I'll cut the laugh short just to get to the next part. You're just competing against people's thumbs swiping up.
Do you think like
that? Sometimes, because if you can make your joke a little tighter via editing.
I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Because if you're an unknown and you're just competing about people, you're competing with people swiping their thumb and watching something else.
Yeah. I think you can't really worry about that.
Yeah. Well, it's all trial and error too.
People still love stand-up, dude. They're still gonna love it. And if it's below jazz in the listings, so be it.
I love it.
It's fine. It doesn't need any more attention than it gets. It's fine.
Yeah.
And the people that love it, and the people that don't, that's fine too. It's all fine. Don't worry about who swipes and who doesn't swipe. Worry about doing what you enjoy. Do that thing and make it so that something you're like, I like it. This is good. I did it the way I wanted to do it. Bam.
That's where I'm at now with stand-up.
Perfect.
Where I'm just very happy, especially after doing that last special. I'm at a place where I'm comfortable. I called the special, this new one, House Money. because things are great, with my parents and financially and
It's
career-wise.
so funny, the pressure of your parents. It's like just
Yeah.
an overwhelming blanket.
It's a cliche, the whole immigrant, be a doctor or whatever.
Yeah, they want you to be successful.
They wanted me to
It's
be
hard to get over here.
Yeah, but I love them, and I know what it was rooted in. It was just rooted in their offspring wanting
Of course.
to do the
It's
best
love.
that they can. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rooted in love. It's a
Yeah.
little smothering.
A little smothering. But
you made it out.
Yeah, I think it allowed me to be where I'm at now.
Fuck
So
yeah.
it was rocket fuel, and
Yeah. There's something to be said for that.
Mm-hmm.
There's something to be said for some uncomfortable shit that makes you work harder. Because the worst situation is you're too comfortable and you don't work hard enough, and then you don't have a career because you've just been lazy. You
Mm-hmm.
could have had a career. We know a lot of guys like that.
Right.
We know a lot of guys that just for whatever reason they didn't fucking put it together.
right.
They didn't work as hard as everybody else did. They just didn't try as hard. For whatever reason, they just fucking cashed out.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's a real bummer because you learned at an early age the value of hard work and discipline. And I think a lot of people just don't know the value of that, and they just would rather just indulge because indulging is fun. We all love to do it, and stand-up comics are, most of us are pretty indulgent and silly. So you got to find a way to harness that like you're the boss of you. You got to figure out a way to say like, hey, I'm the boss of me. I will sit my ass down and I will fucking work on this shit.
There's a level of entrepreneurship that I think is great about stand-up too, and I think that's why I work so hard is because I knew what my life would be like if I just stayed at Boeing. It was a means to an end. It's not like I did engineering just so I can get a legit job and be able to move out to LA and drive up to Hollywood. So it was always a means to an end. But I would always, when I'm in that cubicle, I knew what my life would be like if I just stayed at Boeing.
Yep.
Whereas I didn't know what it would be like. I knew what I wanted it to be, and that drove me. Whereas, okay, I know this movie, I don't know this movie, and I love this.
Right.
So that was the fire for me.
Right.
Just not wanting to live for tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you pursue something, like that, it's exciting. It's fulfilling.
It's very exciting, but it's also very daunting, right? Especially in the beginning. God, I remember the early days where I wasn't sure I was going to make it. It was just whether I was going to be able to make a living. It's so weird. It's such a weird feeling. Everything's like open-ended. You never know. You don't know the next set you have where you bomb. Oh my God, am I going to have to quit? Do I suck forever?
Yeah.
Am I going to figure this out? Those are the best moments when I was young. When I was starting out, was after bombs. After bombs, I always came out sharper.
Most.
You come out so much sharper. It sucks, but you either get better or you quit.
Yeah.
You get better or you quit.
I always think about that whenever people get into stand-up. If they bomb and they don't love stand-up, they're out pretty fast.
Yeah.
Because that's not a fun feeling.
I always
Unless you have
say-
a screw loose and you love it, and I'm that way. Whereas I was more emboldened after a bomb. I was like, okay, why didn't it work? How do I tweak this?
Right.
I took it as the audience being an
challenge.
editor. Yeah. It was fuel.
It's undeniable. They either laugh or they don't. And people used to say like, I think Bill Cosby used to say, "There's no bad crowds, just bad comedians." Well, he was out of his fucking mind, clearly. And I used to say about that, well, he never had to work the places that I had to work. I had to work bars in the middle of Massachusetts and Rhode Island and fucking Connecticut. Like, shut your mouth. There's bad audiences. But through those bad audiences, you learn crowd control mitigation shit. You learn how to work the crowd. You learn how to like capture people's attention so you don't let them drift off. You don't like you can't. They're not all good crowds.
You learn how to corral energy.
Yeah.
Also, if someone is being disruptive, do they have a good heart? Do they mean well?
Yeah.
Just a little too tipsy, and kind of harness that back into your set and be playful. Because some comics don't realize and they just go nuclear on the person.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
it's like
yeah.
beating up a toddler. Because
Right.
then you've lost the goodwill of the crowd. Everyone's like, yo, you just fucked this chick up.
For no reason.
And then you try to
Yeah.
do a joke and they go, no, you're a monster, dude.
Yeah, it's basically like having road rage. Like you're in
Yeah.
the car and you're like, shut the fuck up. Like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? Fuck you. No, fuck you.
Right.
You're so amped up because you're already in a car. You're driving fast. When you're on stage, your brain is amped up. When someone chimes in, you're like, what? Shut up, you stupid bitch.
Even though he's like
And then everybody's
technically,
like, oh my God, what have you done?
Like, there's a nicer way to say keep it down,
Yeah.
and you may have lost the crowd by saying you
Right.
stupid bitch.
But then there's some people that you just have to address. Like, you have
Yeah.
to get rid of them. They're going to ruin your show no matter what you do. And they do it on purpose.
Sometimes they're so malicious and mean, that you have carte blanche to fucking lay into this guy.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun because sometimes these people are so singular minded and they think the world revolves around them. When the crowd starts booing the person and you see that switch in their eyes, like, oh, they've been perceiving the whole situation wrong.
Right.
I go, why is this entire room booing you if you're the good guy?
Right.
You know what I mean? Everyone's like, get the fuck you. They got babysitters and shit, you know? They hate this guy.
Yeah.
So I kind of like teaching a lesson sometimes when that happens. I'm like, I do a million sets. This is fun for me to teach a grown man a lesson. Did you hear all these boos? Why are they hissing at you, dude?
Yeah.
It's fun to educate sometimes.
Well, some people they're drunk and they don't even realize what the consequences of what they're doing are. They're just being so selfish. They don't care about the other 300 people in the room. They just want to just yell out.
But most of the time, they mean well, but they've had a few drinks, and you can rein them in.
Booze is the best and the worst thing for comedy.
Yeah, for real. Ideally, you want everyone who's great on it.
Yeah, you want people who can handle their liquor. But every now and then you'll get, that's not true.
How is it at Mothership? Because you run a tight ship, no pun intended, because you got to put the phone in the bag.
Yeah. You have to kick people out that are disrupting the show.
Does it happen still?
Yeah, it's happened. It happens. It's going to happen. No matter if you have live comedy, you're going to have people that are just hammered. We had a lady go into a K-hole. She was on ketamine. She went into a K-hole in the middle of the crowd.
How's a K-hole audience member? What's that like?
They didn't know if she took it opiates or what she took. So
were you like, this joke's really good? She's fucking orgasming.
I wasn't there. And it was a night that I was off, I think. Or it wasn't on the show. I don't remember what it was. But either way, the lady went into a K-hole. And they had the Narcan ready. They thought she had, overdosed. But no, she was just fucking gone. Because a lot of people take this nasal spray of ketamine and they take it like as therapy. You fucking quasi-dimensional traveling in the middle of a comedy show.
I don't understand when people go that hard and then pay tickets to an expensive show. Like
Bro,
some people will go to a concert and just be fucked up beyond belief. Yeah.
That's Ari Shaffir.
You're not even mentally here to enjoy Beyonce or whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is the experience. Sometimes people say, I'm going to take an edible and go see a show. You're like,
How do you finesse that, though? Like that lady on K, I don't know if she was really processing the jokes, right?
Oh, she definitely wasn't. She was gone. I mean, she collapsed. She was gone. Yeah. I've never done ketamine like that. I don't know what happens, but the way they do it, if you do a lot of it, you go into what they call a K-hole, whatever that means. But I know that people have like hallucinations and they have like these weird experiences where they're interacting with interdimensional beings. Mm-hmm. They're in empty apartment buildings and space and shit. Weird stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like you don't need a show for that.
It seems like a heavy drug. It seems like one that you could be out in the town on that stuff.
Yeah.
But I guess people microdose it. I guess that's the thing.
Not this girl.
The anti-depression effects from microdosing. They used to have a ketamine drip thing that Neil did.
Oh, yeah.
Neil Brennan did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said he thought that he would go to a doctor's office and it would be like mild. He's like, no, I'm tripping balls at the doctor's office on an IV drip of ketamine, just fucking interacting with space beings and shit.
Yeah, I remember when he was going through a phase of like trying different things for his depression. He was doing it. He showed me a video of the magnet thing. And then K, I guess, and then ayahuasca.
Yeah.
He was telling me about it. Like he was doing it a lot. I didn't know that you could do ayahuasca that frequently.
Whoops. You're probably not supposed to. I mean, how much he's doing
He's a pioneer dude.
He's a wild dude, but it did help him. It definitely did help him.
Yeah, I've noticed a difference.
Yeah, he talked about it. It's like, I forget what percentage.
Well, he believes in God now and stuff. Just like, oh, yeah.
It might be real. It might be something to it.
I'm so scared of ayahuasca. He actually asked me because I like control.
Right, you had a bad mushroom trip, right?
Yeah.
Because you like control.
Well, yeah, exactly. And you can't control when you're on drugs, you know?
Not mushrooms, that's for damn sure. And if you try, it'll take you down a very bad road.
Yes.
You got to learn how to
let go.
I
know. Ari Shaffir was, because Ari was living in LA at the time.
Pauly Shore does ayahuasca.
He just did it. He talked about it.
Let's go.
I mean, I don't know what. He's like, everyone said like what you did.
If he starts wearing wooden beads, I'm going to strangle him. As soon as you do too much ayahuasca, you start wearing wooden beads. I'm always like, bro.
No, you're tapped in, dude.
You okay, bro? Do you have an eagle feather in your hair? Because I'll kill you.
Have you done ayahuasca?
No, no.
So then why haven't you?
I haven't had the opportunity. I haven't had people that I want to do it with. I haven't had it's illegal in America, so
it is?
either you do it illegally here or you go somewhere else. Yeah, it shouldn't be. But also, maybe you should know who the fuck is making it and how they're doing it. And I've done DMT though, which is that's the active ingredient.
I saw a guy take a hit from a DMT pen at a party,
Jesus.
and it was like unsettling to watch him because you just see him blast off in a chair. I'm like, this is too personal. It's almost like seeing a guy jerk off or something.
Very weird to do that in front of everybody.
He just blasts off for like 5 minutes, and you see like, I go, okay,
Jesus,
it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it's a potent drug.
Like it's a hit off of a vape pen.
I think it's a portal into another dimension. I really do. I know that sounds completely insane, especially from the host of Fear Factor.
Right.
But I think it's in your mind. I mean, they know that your brain produces those chemicals. Why would your brain produce chemicals that let you interact with beings in other dimensions that are giving you wisdom? Why? Why would that be something your brain makes? I don't know. But the speculation is that your brain makes it when it thinks it's going to die. And that when you interact with that dimension, that's your spirit, that's your soul, that's what the essence of you, not your physical being and your life experiences and your memories. That's the essence of you goes to this place.
And that's the only way to access it, or
maybe some people say you can access it through Kundalini yoga. I've never done it that way, but I have done what they call holotropic breathing. I've had psychedelic experiences just from breathing. You can get to like an acid state just breathing. It's really wild, but the physical process of dying, like when people have near-death experiences, it sounds a lot like a psychedelic trip. Like a lot of these people that go to the light and then come back, like they die for like 30 seconds and then they come back and they have this crazy experience of interacting with beings and interacting with angels and interacting with devils and weird shit, man. And a lot of them have these weird stories. And they've tried to like map out what the fuck is happening with the human mind while that's going on, but it's just a lot of speculation in terms of like they didn't even know like what part of the brain is producing this chemical. They knew it's produced by the liver, and I think it's produced by the lungs, but they think it's produced by the whole brain now. Isn't that what Strassman said the last time he was here? But your brain makes the most potent psychedelic drug known to man. That's one of the reasons why that stuff is such a short, the time that if you take DMT, your body brings it back to baseline very quickly.
Like how long?
Like you're blasted for 10, 15 minutes and then you're back.
Huh.
And you're stone cold sober. And you were just in another dimension.
That's crazy.
It's bananas.
And you're back to the party.
And
like nothing happened.
Here's what's even more crazy. You have a really hard time remembering it. You had one of the most insane experiences you could ever possibly imagine. You remember little snippets of it, just like a dream.
Yeah, I'm like that. I'm bad at remembering dreams. Yeah, I should get a journal
Everybody
or
is.
something. Yeah.
Everybody is. And that is like a function of that same thing that when you take the actual chemical, when you take the actual DMT molecule, it's the same thing that happens. You have a very difficult time holding on to those memories. Because memories are weird anyway. You know, we all have false memories. We all have distorted memories. You have an approximation of things.
I'm jealous. Some people have iron trap memories. I'll talk to a buddy and he'll bring up an event from 6 years ago, and like I don't work that way. I'm so jealous. Some people just have super memories like that.
They definitely do with some things. You know, I'd always wonder, like, do they have less experiences in their life? So is that, like, more memorable because they don't have anything that stands out from the norm?
I think just the way their brain processes information and events, like it has a better filing system or something.
Well, some people definitely have photographic memories. Like, they can remember everything absolutely perfectly. You know that lady from Taxi, that show Taxi? Yeah.
I was just thinking about that 60 Minutes piece that she was on there talking about, like, she's one of these people, like, with super memory.
Super memory.
Yeah.
Like, very different than normal good memory.
Even people who can remember lines very easily, I'm so jealous of.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because what a leg up you have over the competition if you could just read a thing and be like, got it.
Yeah.
And you could do it.
I know, that's crazy. That's probably her. Mary Lou Henner. Yeah. Highly superior autobiographical memory, a rare condition identified in only 100 people worldwide. This trait drives her to advocate for more funding for brain research. That's insane. That's incredible.
It's a super
But when you
human
hear
gift.
her like recite things that she can remember, it's bananas.
Yeah.
It's bananas. But that would be an amazing advantage to be an actor.
For
But
sure.
You read the script once and like, I got it. I know exactly what you're going to say, and then I know exactly what I'm going to say.
How were you on news radio with lines?
I was okay.
Yeah.
You know, I was okay. It's a complicated little thing to remember.
Everyone's process is different too.
Mhm.
How to retain that, just going over it.
For me, it was always just repetition. You have to do a lot of repetition over and over and over again. Say it out loud, write it down.
I always
Say it
hear
out
get
loud,
on
write
your
it down.
feet, so like pace and say the words, so it's in your
That helps,
body.
too. Sure.
I heard Riz Ahmed. You know him as an actor?
No.
He's great. He's in Sound of Music or Sound of Metal.
The two very different movies, by the way.
He was in The Sound of Music or The Sound of Metal.
One of those.
I'm pretty sure it's Sound of Metal. But he's a super talented actor, and I heard he like runs while he does his lines and just to get himself out of his.
Wasn't he in Oppenheimer?
Was he? I feel like everyone was in Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer's a damn good movie. How crazy is it they went after him for communism?
What was that?
How crazy is it they went after him for communism?
Oh, that's what they got him on.
Well, that's what they're going after him for.
That was the thing, dude. They get you.
Yeah, but I mean, the guy who invented the fucking bomb. Leave him alone.
Yeah.
Leave him alone.
What if the movie ended after they dropped the bomb and everyone cheers? And then you see the
Right.
credits?
Yay,
But it's funny
everybody
because
died.
yeah, but you saw they had to do that back end where he felt bad and
Oh,
shit.
of course.
Where he's like, what have I done?
One of my favorite all-time videos, let's leave it on this, is the Oppenheimer video of him describing what he said when the first bomb went off, when he quoted the Bhagavad Gita. Let's watch. We'll leave with this. Fahim, you're the
Yo,
fucking man.
thanks for having
Appreciate you.
me.
Love you to death. I
Thank
miss
you so much.
Your new comedy special?
Yeah, it's called House Money. It's on my YouTube channel. So if you go to youtube.com/Fahim Anwar,
And
it's
Fahim
for free.
Anwar, it's for free. And Fahim Anwar on Instagram and all the other social media
Yeah.
platforms. And always the Comedy Store.
Yeah.
Oppenheimer.
Shit. We knew the world would not be the same. Few people laughed. Few people cried. Most people were silent. I remembered the line from the Hindu scripture, the Bhagavad Gita. Vishnu is trying to persuade the prince that he should do his duty, and to impress him takes on his multi-armed form and says, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." I suppose we all thought that one way or another.
That's a quote.
That's a fucking
Bars.
bar. That's a bar.
Bar.
Right
Somebody
there.
put some hip hop beat underneath that.
Yeah, it probably is already in a song.
That's a good
That should
point.
be in a Wu-Tang song. All right. Goodbye, everybody. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.